Chapter 211. Even if a mere third-layer True Spirit Realm kid had some ability, he still dared to provoke Duan Mie. Wasn't he courting death? Duan Mie harumphed coldly. Donning a black robe and holding a broken saber, he strode toward the center of the ring. I, Duan Mie, represent the Broken Saber sect to challenge the Jintian clan. The crowd exclaimed upon hearing this. Long Yu dared to provoke the Broken Saber sect, forcing Duan Mie to take the initiative. Duan Mie's strength was much stronger than Yu Xiao's. Although they were both fourth-layer True Spirit Realm cultivators, they weren't on the same level. Duan Mie had even chopped off Bubu's arm. Why would he be afraid of Long Yu? Great timing. A cold flicker flickered across Long Yu's eyes. I will avenge senior brother Bu's severed arm. With Chu Chaoxing's approval, Long Yu ignited the crowd. He was planning to challenge the strongest experts of the other 6 sects on his own in a single day. It was unbelievable, but the more it was so, the more interested the crowd was. Let's see if this Long Yu is really that strong. On the Imperial Army's dojo, Duan Mie and Long Yu stood opposite each other, one holding a broken saber and the other a spear. In an instant, the two attacked at the same time. 10,000 slaughter. Long Yu thrust his spear forward like a dragon, roaring at Duan Mie with boundless murderous intent. 3 graceful saber strikes. Duan Extermination actually executed a superior grade mortal martial technique. Wanted to use it to deal with Long Yu's 10,000 kill spear technique. In the next moment, the 3 streaks of saber light instantly slashed into the spear shadows that were filled with killing intent. However, they were like stones sinking into the ocean, and there was no reaction at all. It could be seen that using a high-rank mortal tier martial skill to fight against Long Yu was a completely wrong choice. However, Duan Mie was not flustered at all. He executed the Broken Saber domain and retreated at an extremely fast speed, easily dodging the 10,000 slaughter. Your martial skill is weaker than mine. In other words, even if you unleash your heaven-suppressing domain, you won't be able to suppress me. Duan Mie let out a cold laugh and moved swiftly like a shadow. Really, Long Yu's expression was calm. With a wave of his hand, he unleashed the Taiyin force. A terrifying frost power spread out and instantly covered Duan Mie's body. With the appearance of the extreme Yin force, Duan Mie's movements were hindered. Not only was the Broken Saber domain completely suppressed, even his own speed had been reduced to a horrifying level. It's the great Yin again. Duan Mie's expression changed. How could this year's Jintian clan disciples be so strange? Ling Han had comprehended the Taiyin charm. Long Yu had comprehended the Taiyin force. And Lu Yuan of the fatally inclined pavilion, who had an inexplicable relationship with Long Yu, had also comprehended the Taiyin force. Duan Mie had long since experienced the law of Yin. 3 years ago, he had faced off against Mo Fengming of the Mo clan of the Xiang clan. Under Mo Fengming's great Yin energy, he had been completely suppressed by Mo Fengming. But now, even people like Long Yu and Lu Yuan had comprehended the Taiyin force. This made Duan Mie feel very unbalanced. Why couldn't he obtain such a powerful law of divine monument? This made Duan Mie exude a violent aura. The broken saber in his hand was covered in a layer of black light. Then, a space-splitting saber radiance slashed down at Long Yu. This space-splitting saber radiance was the move that had cut off Duan Mie's arm. At first, the saber radiance was still on Duan Mie's broken saber, but the next moment, it cut through space and swept towards Long Yu. The speed of the void-cutting saber light was too fast. Moon wings rise. Long Yu had been guarding against Duan Mie's move. When Duan Mie attacked, he was already prepared. As the saber radiance descended, the moon wings on his back spread out and instantly took him sideways. With the moon wings spread, Long Yu's speed was unmatched. 10,000 people kill. Relying on his unparalleled speed, Long Yu rapidly closed in on Duan Extermination and stabbed out with a spear filled with boundless killing intent. He had already comprehended the 10,000 people kill to the greater success realm. When he thrust his spear, killing intent filled the air. If it was an opponent of the same realm, they might not be able to withstand the pressure of this killing intent. Even Duan Mie's heart trembled when he felt the killing intent of Long Yu's spear and his lightning-fast speed. Under the cover of the Taiyin force, Duan Mie's movements became very slow. Facing Long Yu's spear, Duan Mie only had time to raise his broken saber horizontally, trying to block Long Yu's spear with it. However, under the influence of the killing intent, Long Yu's spear instantly contained the destructive power of the Thunder Force. Ding! The spear stabbed the broken saber, and the destructive power of the Thunder Force instantly erupted. The broken saber in Duan Mie's hand instantly exploded into pieces. Then, the endless power of the Thunder Force surged into Duan Mie's body through the saber hilt, trying to destroy all the meridians in his body. Another type of heavenly steel nomological power. Many people with discerning eyes could tell that Long Yu's spear had been able to shatter Duan Mie's broken saber battle weapon by using another type of heavenly steel nomological power. This nomological power was filled with destruction, as if anything that stood in its path would be reduced to ashes. Even Chu Chaosheng in The Spectator stands narrowed his eyes as he carefully observed Long Yu. Chu Chaosheng had never seen Long Yu use the power of the Thunder Force before. Now that he saw it, his evaluation of Long Yu rose to another level. This kid is extraordinary. Presumably, it was the heavenly steel he obtained from the heavenly steel lightning pool. But how had this kid survived the heavenly steel lightning pool? Chu Chaosheng was puzzled. It had to be known that not even experts of his level dared to step into the heavenly steel lightning pool. Once they stepped in, only death awaited them. On the other side, in the spectator stands of the Xiang clan's Mo clan. Mo Fengming was wearing a green robe and was sitting leisurely. He swept a glance at Long Yu, who was in the middle of the square, and a look of interest appeared in his eyes. Fengming, if you were also in the third layer of the true spirit secret realm, would you be a match for Long Yu? Next to Mo Fengming, a middle-aged man in a green robe asked with a smile. This middle-aged man was Mo Fengming's father, but he was not the head of the Xiang clan's Mo clan. I'm no match for him. Mo Fengming shook his head and spoke the truth. It seems that you have a rather high evaluation of Long Yu. It's a pity that such a prodigy could have been a pillar of our Tang Empire, but because he's the son of Long Zhaitian, Mo Fengming's father sighed and shook his head. He did not say anything else. Mo Fengming's heart skipped a beat. What did his father mean? Right now, wasn't Long Yu a disciple of the Jintian clan and a pillar of the Tang Empire? Could it be that something would happen soon? Mo Fengming did not know the inside story, but he was not interested in it either. What he was interested in was the supreme Yin force that Long Yu had comprehended. One must know that Mo Fengming had previously obtained the supreme Yin fragment and used it to form the supreme Yin force, but the fragments had been used up. This caused him to be unable to progress in the supreme Yin force for the past few years. If not for the sky-piercing lightning pool, Mo Fengming would have gone to the Ling clan's villa and tried to obtain another supreme Yin fragment. However, he did not expect that he could not do anything about the sky-piercing lightning pool, and instead, Long Yu managed to obtain it. It seemed that the heavenly tablet of the sky-piercing lightning pool was in Long Yu's hands. Thinking of this, Mo Fengming's eyes flashed. The heavenly tablet was an extremely precious treasure to any martial cultivator. Mo Fengming, naturally had to obtain it, not to mention Mo Fengming. Even someone at Chu Chaosheng's level could not help but feel a little envious when he saw Long Yu display the power of two types of heavenly tablet laws. Unfortunately, Long Yu was unable to escape death in the end. Chu Chaosheng felt that it was a pity. Once Long Yu died, the treasures like the heavenly tablet on him would definitely not belong to Chu Chaosheng in the Imperial Army's martial field. Duan Mie's broken saber was shattered by Long Yu's spear. He was stunned on the spot. He did not expect Long Yu to be so tyrannical. However, before he could react, Long Yu wielded the 9 Nether Dragon spear and attacked again. This spear was also the 10,000 kill spear technique and also carried the destructive power of the thunderbolt. Duan Mie was still enveloped by the supreme Yin force, and had no ability to resist at all. Poof! This spear immediately pierced through Duan Mie's shoulder. Then, the destructive power of the thunderbolt erupted and instantly blew up on his arms. A debt of blood must be paid in blood. A cold light flashed in Long Yu's eyes. Then, he kicked Duan Mie, who had his arm broken, and sent him flying. He rolled several times on the ground of the arena. With Chu Chaoxing's order, he could not kill Duan Mie, but he could still avenge Bu Fu. As for Duan Mie's life, he would wait for Bu Fu to recover and then take it himself. Long Yu believed that Bu Fu's strength was definitely stronger than Duan Mie's. It was just that he had been poisoned by Yu Qimei of the Thousand Thread sect. Duan Mie's broken arm shocked the audience. Many people cheered, such as the Jintian clan disciples. All of them were jumping for joy. Senior Brother Bu's revenge had finally been avenged. However, more people were impressed by Long Yu's ruthlessness and decisiveness. This kid was young, but the way he handled things was full of ruthlessness, and no one could use it against him. If he were to become Long Yu's opponent, it would be too terrifying. Chu Shanwu, the sect master of the Broken Blade sect, slammed the table and stood up angrily, glaring at Long Yu. He glanced at Hua Haishan, the hall master of the Hidden Fire Palace, who was not far away, and found that Hua Haishan was shaking his head at him, indicating that he should not be impulsive. It was obvious that there were experts protecting Long Yu in the Imperial Army's arena. Wang Ju had been injured in this way, and no one had seen him for the past few days. Hua Haishan and Chu Shanwu, of course, would not act impulsively again. However, it was impossible for them to swallow the humiliation of their disciples being bullied by Long Yu. Right now, they could only wait for the best opportunity to get rid of Long Yu in one fell swoop. Next, Qingcheng Pavilion by Lin Sha. Long Yu did not care about Duan Mie's broken arm. He turned his head and glanced in the direction of the Qingcheng Pavilion. The Qingcheng Pavilion did not choose Lu Yuan as their challenger, but chose Bai Lin Sha instead, tacitly acknowledging that Bai Lin Sha was the strongest person in the Qingcheng Pavilion. Bai Lin Sha was very satisfied with this. Who asked Lu Yuan to be so close to that thief from the Jintian clan, Long Yu? Moreover, it was obvious that she wanted to betray the Qingcheng Pavilion. Once the Seven-Clan Martial Seminar ended, Pavilion Master Fang Xiaoyan would definitely deal with this matter and clean up the Qingcheng Pavilion. However, there was a problem in front of Bai Lin Sha now. Chapter 2:12. When faced with a choice, Bai Lin Sha flinched. Not only Bai Lin Sha, but even Pavilion Master Fang Xiaoyan shook her head and ordered Bai Lin Sha not to challenge the Jintian clan. Even Yu Xiao and Duan Mie could not last more than a few moves against Long Yu. Bai Lin Sha was no match for Long Yu. If it was Lu Yuan, she might be able to forget it. Fang Xiaoyan was enraged at the thought of Lu Yuan. She could not understand why Lu Yuan would make such a decision. Betray the sect? This was treason and heresy. Just admit defeat. This round has nothing to do with you. Fang Xiaoyan closed her eyes after saying that to Bai Lin Sha. She did not want to say anything else. Bai Lin Sha's heart sank when she heard that. She had nothing to do with it. In other words, Fang Xiaoyan felt that she, Bai Lin Sha, was very, very weak. No matter which sect she challenged, she would not be able to win. Instead of being humiliated, she might as well just give up. Bai Lin Sha's limbs stiffened. She was completely shocked by the truth. I give up. Bai Lin Sha lowered her head and said those 3 words in the face of Long Yu's provocation. She gave up. She gave up. The strongest disciple of the Qingcheng Pavilion, Bai Lin Sha, had chosen to give up in this round. Didn't this mean that Bai Lin Sha was the weakest among the top core disciples of the 7 sects? Bai Lin Sha, who was at the 4th level of the True Spirit Secret Realm, had chosen to give up against Long Yu, who was at the 3rd level of the True Spirit Secret Realm. This was undoubtedly the shame of the Qingcheng Pavilion. However, the greatest shame of the Qingcheng Pavilion had yet to come. Following Bai Lin Sha was Ouyang Ming from the Ice Sect. The Ice Sect and the Jintian clan were allies. Ouyang Ming would not challenge the Jintian clan. Moreover, he knew that he was no match for Long Yu. Ouyang Ming, who was wearing a blue robe, stood in the middle of the arena. He looked around and then looked in the direction of the Qingsheng Pavilion. Challenged the Qingsheng Pavilion. Yangming's voice was cold, and the longsword in his hand was also covered with a layer of ice. The martial techniques and mental cultivation methods of Frost Sect were all related to frost. The stronger a Frost Sect disciple was, the colder they looked. Although Yangming had lost to Yu Xiao in the last round, it didn't mean that he was weaker than Yu Xiao. Yu Xiao had only defeated Yangming with his supreme spirit grade battle weapon, the Flaming Banner. At this moment, in order for Yangming to win, Tang Qin, the sectmaster of the Ice School, gave Yangming a supreme spirit grade sword that she had used in the past and asked him to fight. If he could defeat the glamorous pavilion, the sword would belong to Yangming. How could Yangming not do his best under such encouragement? Soon, Yangming and the two guards of the tumultuous pavilion, by Lin Sha and a female cultivator at the second stage of the True Spirit Secret Realm, were standing in the dojo. As for those with lower martial arts boundaries, there was no need for them to fight. Yangming could just stand there and let them hit him, and they could not hurt him at all. At this moment, Lu Yuan was sitting in the Jintian clan spectator area. "Sister Lu, aren't you going to help the glamorous pavilion?" Fengyu Xian asked in confusion. Even the pavilion master of the glamorous pavilion doesn't care about the outcome of the martial competition of the 7 sects. Why should I worry about it? Lu Yuan smiled faintly. She had no intention of fighting. Now, Yangming from the Ice Gate was facing Bai Lin Sha from the glamorous pavilion and another female disciple from the second level of the True Spirit Secret Realm. "Let's fight." Yangming had delicate features, and he looked like he was in his early 20s. At that moment, his heart was filled with fighting spirit, and he brandished his cold ice longsword to unleash a frosty sword aura at Bai Lin Sha. Glamorous dance. Bai Lin Sha was not one to back down. She joined forces with the other female disciple and performed the martial arts skill, the alluring dance, to attack Yangming from 2 directions. The glamorous dance was not only a movement technique, but it also had a bewitching effect, especially when the 2 enchanting girls performed the glamorous dance in front of Yangming. Yangming's eyes were immediately attracted. "Oh no!" Yangming quickly reacted, but at this moment, Bai Lin Sha had already flashed behind him. The flowing light sword was like a shooting star, attacking him. Yangming instantly prepared to defend himself. But it was then when the female disciple at the second level of the True Spirit Secret Realm in front of him released the illusory image of a true spirit with a ribbon, which was faintly discernible along with her alluring figure. This scene attracted Yangming's attention for a moment. Ice field. Yangming could not react in time. He could only activate his Xian Qi and release the ice field as quickly as possible. Then, an ice sword True Spirit appeared behind him. Clang! Bai Lin's flowing light sword landed on Yangming's ice sword True Spirit, which had yet to fully materialize. It almost shattered the ice sword True Spirit. Luckily, Yangming's willpower was still strong. Otherwise, he would have been beaten off the stage by Bai Lin Sha. The 2 figures collided. Bai Lin Sha took a few steps back, then attacked again. The glamorous dance and the flowing light sword made her attack speed extremely fast. Yangming's willpower became even stronger. The other female disciple at the second stage of the True Spirit Secret Realm could no longer affect him. A shadow. Yangming waved his long sword, and instantly, the ice formed dozens of ice shadow clones. Not only did they dodge Bai Lin's fierce killing move, they also completely confused Bai Lin Sha. There were so many ice shadow clones. Which one was real and which one was fake? Long Yu squinted his eyes at the spectator stand. He had experienced this ice shadow before. It was a middle-grade spiritual martial skill from the Ice Sect. When he was still at the Ling family's moon mine, Long Yu had fought with the Ice Sect's core disciple, Hua Buxi, who was at the second stage of the True Spirit Secret Realm. At that time, Long Yu had just entered the True Spirit Secret Realm. Hua Buxi had used the 2 great martial skills, Ice Shadow and Ice Stream. If Long Yu had not released the Dragon of 9 Underworld's True Spirit Secret Realm, he might not have been able to deal with them. Now that he was the #1 core disciple in the Ice Sect, his understanding of this move was naturally deeper than Hua Buxi's. Ice Stream Sweep. Dozens of Yangming's ice shadow clones spoke at the same time. It was a spectacular sight. Then, the dozens of ice shadow clones each formed a stream of ice that swept toward Bai Lin Sha. Bai Lin Sha was a little flustered facing so many streams of ice. However, as the #1 core disciple in the alluring pavilion, she was not completely useless. Afterimage Sword Dance. This spiritual high-grade martial skill was relatively difficult to master in the alluring pavilion. Even Lu Yuan had only comprehended it to the minor mastery stage. In the previous round of battle, Lu Yuan had used the afterimage sword dance to injure Bai Lin Sha, which allowed Bai Lin Sha to have a breakthrough. She had finally comprehended the afterimage sword dance to the beginner stage and was able to use this martial skill. At this moment, facing dozens of ice shadows and streams of ice, Bai Lin Sha no longer hesitated. She immediately swung her short swords. Afterimage sword dance. The short swords created countless afterimages the moment they left her hands. They were specifically targeted at the streams of ice. As the swords flashed, the streams of ice were all cut in half and lost their power. The afterimage sword dance was extremely fast. Before the streams of ice could get within 10 feet of Bai Lin Sha, they were all shattered by the sword shadows. However, when Bai Lin Sha looked up, she happened to see her junior sister in the second stage of the True Spirit Secret Realm being targeted by several streams of ice and was forced to admit defeat. If she did not admit defeat, only death would await her. Although Yangming's ice shadow and stream of ice were not able to deal with Bai Lin Sha, they forced her helper to retreat. Colorful Butterfly, True Spirit. Bai Lin Sha did not dare to be careless. She immediately released her True Spirit. It was a multicolored butterfly, which was similar to Lu Yuan's black butterfly. With the appearance of the multicolored butterfly, True Spirit, Bai Lin Sha's law of phantom's power was instantly increased to the extreme. Dozens of Yangming's ice shadow clones were all attracted by the multicolored butterfly and by Lin Sha's graceful figure. They were stunned on the spot. Afterimage sword dance. Bai Lin Sha seized the opportunity to perform the afterimage sword dance again. Sword lights danced in the sky and instantly shredded dozens of ice shadow clones. Freezing Sky Sword. Yangming's real body suddenly appeared from the remains of dozens of ice shadow clones. In his hands, the spiritual high-grade longsword was finally able to unleash its corresponding power. In other words, this was the moment that he had been waiting for. Bai Lin Sha had yet to catch her breath after destroying dozens of ice shadow clones. Faced with Yangming's strongest martial skill, she was instantly defenseless. The freezing sky sword froze heaven and earth. When the sword attacked, the world froze. With the spiritual high-grade longsword in hand, the power of Yangming's sword shocked even Long Yu. Even I have to give it my all against this sword. Long Yu's expression was somewhat solemn. He did not expect Yangming to have such terrifying strength after possessing the spiritual high-grade longsword. His attainment in swordsmanship was definitely not inferior to Qi Guang, the #1 core disciple of the Rainsword sect. With the freezing sky sword, Bai Lin Sha could not resist it and could only admit defeat. Yangming's challenge against the Glamorous Pavilion was successful. The Glamorous Pavilion's original 10 martial arrows were all taken by the Ice Sect, causing the Ice Sect to have a total of 27 martial arrows and become the leader of the 7 sects. This was undoubtedly a humiliation for the Glamorous Pavilion. The Ice Sect's sect master, Tang Qin, looked gratified. She smiled at Yangming, who had returned to the stage, and said, "You can keep this long sword from now on. Yangming, remember that you are the Ice Sect's hope at all times. You must always put your own life first, understand? Your disciple understands." Yangming was neither arrogant nor rash, as he replied respectfully. Bai Lin Sha left the Imperial Army dojo with a heart full of resentment. The Ice Sect sect master had given a spiritual high-grade combat weapon to Yangming, But what about her pavilion leader, Feng Xiaoyan? Not to mention a spiritual high-grade combat weapon. Even a middle-grade or high-grade combat weapon would not be given to her disciple generously. For the glamorous pavilion's disciples, it was harder than reaching the heavens for them to get a better combat weapon. Chapter 213. Following by Lynch's defeat, the Ice Sect became the sect with the highest number of martial arrows among the 7 sections. As for the duels between the experts of the 7 sect martial competition, they were carried out according to Long Yu's suggestion. There were only 3 rounds left, and the final winner would be revealed. The next 3 challengers were Qi Guang and Long Yu from the Rainsword sect, and Yu Qining from the Thousand Threads sect. Of course, Long Yu would not give Yu Qining the chance to challenge him. Before Yu Qining's challenge, he would take the initiative to challenge the Thousand Threads sect and defeat both Yu Qimei and Yu Qining. Of course, before that, Qi Guang from the Rainsword sect would challenge him first. After Bai Lin Sha left the stage, tens of thousands of people's gazes were focused on the spectator area of the Rainsword sect. They wanted to see which sect Qi Guang would challenge. Would it be the Jintian clan guarded by Long Yu alone, or the Ice sect that had just defeated the Qingqing Pavilion? Logically speaking, after witnessing Long Yu's tyrannical battle prowess, Qi Guang would have a higher chance of winning if he chose to challenge the Ice sect. However, for Qi Guang, being defeated by Yu Qimei in the last round of battle had become a stain on his life. In order to wash away this stain, he had to choose an expert to challenge. Long Yu, on the other hand, had killed Yu Xiao from the Hidden Fire Palace and cut off the arm of the Broken Blade sect's Duan Mie. Without a doubt, he was an expert, which made Qi Guang's blood boil. Only the strong could become an expert. Only by defeating Long Yu could he, Qi Guang, save his face. I challenged the Jintian clan. Qi Guang held the Supreme Spirit Grade Star Ocean Sword and stepped into the Imperial Army's arena. As I thought, the corner of Bai Yunzong's mouth curled up. The people of the Rainsword sect are arrogant. It's only natural that they would choose a stronger opponent, but here they are. Long Yu smiled, stood up, and walked towards the Imperial Army's arena. What had delivered itself to the door? Of course, Long Yu was referring to the Star Sea Sword, the transcendent spirit-level combat weapon. Originally, this Star Sea Sword was sold by Long Yu to the Rainfall Sword sect's Qi Guang, but Qi Guang didn't know about this. Now that Qi Guang had chosen Long Yu as his opponent, Long Yu really wanted to take it back. Wouldn't that be interesting? In any case, the Rainsword sect was not a good person. They had targeted the Jintian clan several times during the chaotic battle. Since he couldn't kill Qi Guang, he would just take his weapon and let him suffer. Long Yu stepped onto the forbidden martial field and said straightforwardly, "Let's fight." After saying that, he held the 9 nether dragon spear in his hand and pointed it at Qi Guang. Qi Guang held the Star Sea Sword in his hand and looked at Long Yu. His eyes were burning with battle intent. "Long Yu, I will defeat you and let everyone know my true strength." He really talked a lot of nonsense. Long Yu didn't pay attention to him. He held the 9 nether dragon spear in his hand and moved. Instantly, a spear strike of 10,000 people condensed with endless killing intent charged towards Qi Guang. Rain sword art. Qi Guang didn't panic. He held the Star Sea Sword in his hand and casually drew a flower with the sword. Several sword rays accompanied the rain and attacked Long Yu, extremely swift and fierce. The endless killing intent condensed with the 10,000 people killing spear was swept in by the sword rays and quickly dissipated. It could be seen that these sword rays were definitely not undeserved. "I will defeat you in the shortest time possible." A cold light flashed in Qi Guang's eyes. He waved the Star Sea Sword in his hand, and a domain of the Night Rain Law descended and enveloped Long Yu. In the Night Rain domain, Long Yu felt as if he had fallen into a violent storm. His eyes were filled with raindrops, and his vision suddenly became blurry. Even Qi Guang's figure couldn't be seen clearly. This was the Night Rain Law contained in the Rainsword sect's Night Rain art. It could affect the vision of the enemy within the range and confuse the enemy's judgment. Thus, one would be restricted in battle. Heaven's Suppression Domain. Long Yu also released the Heaven Suppression Domain. However, he didn't dare to condense the Heaven Suppression Sun True Spirit, so it was ultimately not as strong as Qi Guang's Night Rain Domain. The next moment, several rain sword rays descended from the sky, mixed in with the raindrops. They were invisible and formless, but Long Yu was keenly aware of the killing intent contained in the sword rays. Extreme explosion. Long Yu gave a stern shout, and the lunar wings unfurled from his back. Immediately after, he transformed into a grayish-black ray of light and rapidly moved to another location. However, he soon discovered that no matter where he moved to, the night rain domain would always cover him. The raindrop-like sword rays could fall anytime. The night rain domain was watertight. Combined with the falling rain sword art, the sword light melted into the torrential rain, making it impossible for anyone to discover it. If not for Long Yu's sensitivity to killing intent, with his current martial arts realm, he would have long been suppressed by Qi Guang. Extreme force. Long Yu knew that he couldn't drag on. The longer the situation dragged on, the more disadvantageous it would be for him. When he released the extreme force, the violent storm around him finally weakened a lot. However, he still couldn't find Qi Guang's location. If he couldn't find the other party, how could he talk about defeating the other party? Fortunately, after the extreme force was released, the raindrops that kept falling around him started to be frozen by the power of the extreme force, shattering into ice shards when they fell to the ground. As the raindrops around Long Yu froze, he could finally easily distinguish between the raindrops and the falling rain sword rays. Raindrops would turn into ice due to the extreme cold, but the falling rain sword ray was only slowed down by the grading force. Extreme wings, take me away. Long Yu's eyes flickered. Profound qi erupted from his entire body, urging the extreme wings on his back to flap. His entire person traversed through the night rain domain at the fastest speed. In almost an instant, he finally found Qi Guang's location. Immediately after, without hesitation, he punched out. 9 Underworld Dragon Fist, drunk lying in the Yellow Springs. A punch imitated the path of the Yellow Springs. At the same time, the spirit of the Yellow Springs darted out invisibly, firmly binding Qi Guang's figure that was still trying to dodge. At this moment, if Long Yu took the opportunity to use the 9 Underworld Explosive Flow, he could take Qi Guang's life in an instant. However, because of Chu Chaosheng, he couldn't kill him. Therefore, he could only rely on the extreme wings and extreme force to quickly get close to Qi Guang. Immediately after, a fist condensed with 9 Underworld Qi and smashed onto Qi Guang's chest. The 9 Underworld Qi entered his body, causing all the meridians in Qi Guang's body to be corroded by the 9 Underworld Qi. The Night Rain domain was naturally broken. The Imperial Army Martial Field regained its clarity. However, when the tens of thousands of people around the Imperial Army Martial Field could see the situation in the field again, they were all shocked. Strange black lines constantly appeared on Qi Guang's face, as if he was being corroded by some power, and the Star Sea Sword in his hand had already disappeared. Although Qi Guang's Night Rain domain could conceal the vision of Long Yu who was within it, it could also obstruct the vision of the surrounding observers. Long Yu took the opportunity to snatch the Star Sea Sword when his fist landed on Qi Guang's chest and threw it into the 9 Underworld space. Qi Guang, who was being corroded by the 9 Underworld Qi, had no ability to resist at all. The Star Sea Sword was snatched away by Long Yu. Even he himself didn't notice it. Because the 9 Underworld Qi had entered his body, his entire body was being corroded to the point of extreme discomfort. How could he have the mood to care about a mere combat weapon? I admit defeat. Qi Guang fell to the ground, his entire body trembling. Fortunately, he still had the strength to admit defeat. Otherwise, he would have been miserable. The sect leader of the Rain Sword sect, the white-robed Hua Yanshi with an extremely long beard, suddenly stood up, his face full of anger. This is too outrageous. a disciple of the Jintian clan, is actually so savage. Hua Yinshe was extremely displeased. After all, he had initially thought that he was the strongest in the Rainsword sect. But now, it seemed that the number one core disciple of the Rainsword sect was no match for a mere Long Yu. This Long Yu is only at the third level of the true spirit secret realm. Bring Qi Guang back. Hua Yinshe waved his hand. Elder Qiu Shusong, who was standing beside him, immediately nodded and hurried to the Imperial Dojo to bring Qi Guang back. No matter what, Qi Guang was the number one core disciple of the Rainsword sect. Even if he lost, he still had to be taken good care of. However, when Elder Qiu Shusong brought Qi Guang back, he suddenly realized a problem in his heart. Where's the Star Sea Sword? Qiu Shusong searched Qi Guang's body, but he couldn't find a trace of the Star Sea Sword. Qi Guang, where's the Star Sea Sword? Could it be that Long Yu took it away? Qiu Shusong hurriedly asked with a serious expression. Qi Guang was already injured to this extent, but Qiu Shusong didn't care. Instead, he was concerned about a combat weapon. It could be seen that the Rainsword sect didn't have any human feelings. No, I don't know. Qi Guang's meridians were corroded by the netherworld qi. It was good enough that he didn't faint. At this moment, how could he have the time to care about the Star Sea Sword? Qi Guang felt that if he didn't treat him properly, he would die from that strange power. He didn't think about anything now. As long as he could save his life, anything was fine. Seeing Qi Guang in this state, Hua Yinshe and Elder Qiu Shusong looked at each other and saw a hint of anger in each other's eyes. Long Yu of the Jintian clan was too much. However, they didn't think about who was the one who encouraged Qi Guang to challenge the Jintian clan. Since he issued the challenge, he should be prepared to fail. Whether he lost or won, it was his own choice. Falling rain, broken bowstring. Falling rain, broken bowstring. If Qi Guang could learn this move, he wouldn't have lost to Long Yu. It's a pity the sect leader of the Falling Rainsword sect, Hua Yinshe, sighed to himself. It was a pity that Qi Guang couldn't learn the Falling Rain, broken bowstring. His own battle at the Imperial Dojo could be considered as the Falling Rain, broken bowstring. Now it's my turn, right? Long Yu stood in the middle of the Imperial Dojo and raised his head. He smirked and glanced at Chu Chaosheng, who was wearing a golden imperial robe. It's your turn. Chu Chaosheng nodded and squinted his eyes. It wasn't just Chu Chaosheng at this moment. Everyone present wanted to know exactly which sect Long Yu would choose as his opponent. Regardless, the outcome of the martial competition of the seven sects had already been determined by many. Yu Qianing of the Thousand Thread sect had reached the 5th layer true spirit realm. She was definitely the best and the last challenger. Now, no matter who Long Yu challenged, no one could stop the Thousand Thread sect from winning first place. I challenged the Thousand Thread sect. Following Long Yu's words, the entire Imperial Dojo was shocked and fell into silence. Long Yu chose to challenge the Thousand Thread sect. In other words, he would have to face Yu Qimei and Yu Qianing at the same time. Chapter 214. On the stage of the martial competition of the seven sects, Long Yu had single-handedly won the battle for the Jintian clan. Then, in the Battle of the Experts, his performance was earth-shattering. He had killed Yu Shao of the Fire-Hidden Palace, cut off the arm of the Broken Saber sect, and defeated Qi Guang of the Falling Rainsword sect. It could be said that Long Yu had single-handedly defeated all the core disciples of the seven sections. Now, when it was Long Yu's turn to challenge someone, he had chosen the Thousand Thread sect. This was truly shocking. The strength of the Thousand Thread sect was undoubtedly one of the best among the seven sections. Most importantly, they had the two strongest experts, Yu Qimei and Yu Qianing. Although Yu Qimei was only 14 years old, she was already a genius expert in the 4th layer of the true spirit realm. She was also cautious and ruthless. Even the leader of the Jintian clan, Yu Qianing, had been poisoned and had his arm cut off. As for Yu Qianing, she was even more impressive. The 5th layer of the true spirit realm. One had to know that a cultivator in the 5th layer of the true spirit realm was considered an influential figure even among the 4 major clans. For example, the housekeeper of the Wang clan, Gu Hebo, was in charge of most of the Wang clan's affairs. Normally, a disciple in the fifth layer of the true spirit realm would have been promoted to an elder. However, for the sake of the martial competition of the seven sects, Yu Qianing had retained her identity as a core disciple to ensure that the Thousand Thread sect would emerge victorious. It could be said that Yu Qianing was almost invincible in the martial competition of the seven sects. Not to mention Long Yu, who was in the third layer of the true spirit realm. Even all the experts in the fourth layer of the true spirit realm combined might not be a match for Yu Qianing. If it was anyone else, they would not have the time to avoid such a heaven-defying existence. Why would they take the initiative to fight against her? However, Long Yu unexpectedly took the initiative to challenge the Thousand Thread sect. This guy is desperate, isn't he? Isn't he courting death by making such a decision? I guess the Jintian clan couldn't sit still when they saw the Thousand Thread sect about to win. No matter what, they decided to take the risk first. What's the use of fighting? Yu Qianing has reached the fifth rank of the true spirit secret realm. That's no joke. In my opinion, this Long Yu won't even be able to take one move from her. That's not necessarily true. In my opinion, it shouldn't be a problem for him to receive 3 moves. For a moment, the tens of thousands of people on the Imperial Army Marshal field were all discussing spiritedly. None of them knew the real strength of Long Yu. At this moment, they naturally thought that Long Yu was no match for Yu Qianing. After all, since ancient times, the higher the level of martial arts, the more powerful one's combat ability would be. This was the iron rule of the heavenly mandate continent. Occasionally, there would be exceptions, but only occasionally. At most, they would be able to defeat an opponent who was one level higher than them, and they would still need the right time, place, and people. But now, Long Yu and Yu Qianing were 2 whole realms apart. Hearing that Long Yu would challenge the Thousand Thread clan, the people of the Jintian clan suddenly became nervous. Everyone knew the strength of the Thousand Thread clan, especially the winner of the last round of the mixed battle, Yu Qimei, and Yu Qianing, who was at the 5th rank of the true spirit secret realm. Any one of them could defeat most of the disciples of the 7 clans, let alone the 2 of them working together. Although Long Yu was strong, could he handle such an opponent? Interesting. Chu Chaosheng, who was wearing a golden imperial robe, smiled faintly and waved his hand. Qianing, Qimei, you can go up now. To deal with Long Yu, there was no need for the rest of the Thousand Thread clan to go up. Even if they went up, they would only be cannon fodder. Yu Qimei and Yu Qianing went up at the same time and stood together like a brother and sister. Judging from their expressions, they did not take Long Yu seriously. After all, this was a battle of martial arts realms. They did not believe that a mere kid at the 3rd rank of the true spirit secret realm could defeat the 2 of them together. Moreover, both of them had hidden strengths that they had yet to display. Come on, I'll let you have 3 moves first. Yu Qianing, who was wearing a yellow robe, stared at Long Yu indifferently. Her words were filled with contempt towards Long Yu. However, in the eyes of the tens of thousands of people, she was absolutely qualified to show such contempt towards Long Yu. This was not the first time that Yu Qianing and Long Yu had fought each other. Yu Qianing had set up an ambush outside the Great Tang Kingdom near the Thunderbolt Pool in an attempt to kill Long Yu. However, Long Yu had escaped that time. Originally, Yu Qianing thought that Long Yu would die after entering the Heavenly Thunderbolt Pool. She didn't expect this kid to be so lucky. Not only did he not die, he even comprehended the power of the Heavenly Thunderbolt Tablet's law. But even so what? Yu Qianing had reached the 5th rank of the true spirit secret realm. With an advantage of 2 ranks in strength, any martial skill that Yu Qianing used would have a crushing effect on Long Yu. Any one of her moves would make Long Yu try his best to defend himself. If she used her full strength, Long Yu would not be able to defend himself. The only thing to note was that Long Yu's speed was extremely fast. The pair of lunar wings was a supreme rank spiritual weapon, which made Long Yu look like a sly fly, nimble and annoying. Let me have 3 moves first. Long Yu stood far away, looking at Yu Qimei and Yu Qianing standing next to each other. Their casual expressions made it hard for others to imagine that they were in the middle of a battle. However, since they were so arrogant, there was no need for Long Yu to remind them. Concede 3 moves, then concede 3 moves. Long Yu was vigilant in his heart. He did not think that he could defeat Yu Qining in 3 moves. One must know that Yu Qining had cultivated a martial skill to hide her cultivation. No one knew if the 5th layer of the true spirit's secret realm was her true strength. In comparison, Yu Qimei was much easier to deal with. 3 moves, he would defeat him in 3 moves. Otherwise, Long Yu might not be able to win against Yu Qining. The genius disciples of the 7 sects were much stronger than those idiots brought by Gu Hibo from the Wang family. Yu Qimei's strength was definitely not something that an ordinary 4th-layer true spirit realm cultivator could compare to. Under the gazes of tens of thousands of people, Long Yu displayed his first move. This first move was a merciless killing move. Heaven's suppressing domain, lunar force, thunderbolt force. With the 9 nether dragon spear in Long Yu's hand, the 3 types of law powers fused together and condensed at the tip of the spear. Then he used the spiritual martial skill, reverse scale touch. The 9 nether dragon spear condensed with the 3 types of law powers pointed straight at Yu Qimei, the 14-year-old boy with a childish face. Even if the opponent was only 14 years old, Long Yu was merciless. This was because he knew that if he showed mercy now, he would be the one to lose in the future. The 3 types of law powers fused together and instantly descended in front of Yu Qimei. This move could be said to be out of Yu Qimei's expectations. She had been observing Long Yu's previous battles and knew that Long Yu had comprehended these 3 types of law powers: heaven-suppressing domain, lunar force, and thunderbolt force. The suppression of the heaven-suppressing domain, the freezing of the lunar force, and the destruction of the thunderbolt force. When these 3 fused together, it would definitely create a terrifying destructive power. However, Yu Qimei didn't expect that Long Yu would actually use such a killing move in the first exchange. Senior sister said to let him have 3 moves. Since he has set me as his target, I must block it. I want to see what other moves this Long Yu has. Yu Qimei's childish face was dignified. She waved her hands, and thousands of shadows suddenly appeared in front of her, as if they had condensed into a shadow spider web. This shadow spider web had an extremely strong defensive ability. When she was fighting with Qi Guang before, she had relied on this martial skill to defend against Qi Guang's fatal killing move. At this moment, the shadow spider web reappeared. She wanted to block Long Yu's strongest spear, reverse scale touch. The 3 types of law powers instantly exploded when the spear's shadow hit the shadow spider web. The terrifying destructive power of thunderbolt spread along the shadow spider web, turning the entire area into a land of thunder and lightning. The lunar force descended along with the spear tip, freezing the shadow spider web into ice cubes. As for the heaven-suppressing domain, it directly enveloped Yu Qimei's head, causing her to feel a chill in her heart. True spirit, physical body. Yu Qimei hurriedly released her spider silk true spirit body, condensing it into a pitch-black shadow silk thread, and took the initiative to attack Long Yu. Didn't you say to let me have 3 moves? This is only the first move. Long Yu's lips curled. This Yu Qimei, in the end, still thought of counterattacking. This couldn't be blamed on Yu Qimei. It was just that Long Yu had given him too much pressure. He knew that if he didn't counterattack, Long Yu would most likely defeat him within 3 moves. Before fighting with Long Yu, Yu Qimei would never believe that he couldn't even withstand 3 moves from Long Yu. But now he believed it. Not only did he believe it, but he also knew that the strength that Long Yu possessed had absolutely surpassed almost all the experts in the 4th level of the true spirit realm. He was directly at the 5th level of the true spirit realm. Yu Qimei had only felt such heavy pressure when he was fighting with Yu Qining. This pressure forced him to condense his spider silk true spirit body to counterattack Long Yu. However, even if Yu Qimei released his spider silk true spirit body, it was completely futile. It couldn't stop Long Yu's attack at all. 9 Nether Dragon Fist, drunk lying in the Yellow Springs kill. Long Yu shouted in his heart and threw a punch. The 9 nether chi condensed at close range, and in an instant, the invisible spirit of the Yellow Springs completely bound Uchime. The road to the Yellow Springs materialized, and with one punch, Uchime was stunned on the spot. Bang! Long Yu raised his leg and kicked Uchime's chest. His kick sent her thin and small body flying, and she landed outside the Imperial Army's martial field. 2 moves to repel Uchime. When Uchime's figure landed outside the Imperial Army's martial field, the tens of thousands of people in the audience suddenly burst into an uproar. This Long Yu was really too strong. Among the experts in the 4th level of the true spirit realm, Uchime could be said to be one of the best. But she was repelled by Long Yu with 2 moves. Could it be that this Long Yu really had the strength to defeat Yu Qianing? At this moment, the audience, who originally thought that this battle would be boring, were all excited. Almost there, the concept of the 9 nether law. Long Yu shocked Uchime with 1 punch and sent her flying with a heavy kick. His eyes flashed with a bright light. Every time he used the 9 nether dragon fist, he could feel that he was getting closer to the concept of the 9 nether law. Just now, when he used the drunk lying in the Yellow Springs, he suddenly had a kind of enlightenment. Chapter 215. When Long Yu sent Uchime flying with a punch, Yu Qianing's eyes brightened up. This kid's strength seemed to have improved quite a bit. Now that he had the strength to fight with her, this battle would not be so boring. But it's just not that boring. Yu Qianing laughed coldly. What are you laughing at? The corner of Long Yu's mouth curled up as he saw Yu Qianing sneering. He couldn't help but mock. Is it so funny to see someone from your own sect being blown away by me? Yu Qianing was infuriated. However, before she could say anything, Long Yu immediately sent a fist flying towards her, causing her to perk up. Although the power of this punch was not a threat to her, there was something strange about it, so she had to deal with it carefully. This is the 3rd move you promised me, Long Yu said calmly as he threw a palm of Samsara awakening. Instantly, the power of Samsara descended and enveloped Yu Qianing. Palm of Samsara awakening could send the opponent into Samsara with a single punch, causing their martial realm to drop temporarily. Even Yu Qianing, who was at the 5th level of the true spirit realm, could not escape the shackles of Samsara. In an instant, she felt that her martial realm had dropped to the 4th level of the true spirit realm. Yu Qianing's expression changed. What's going on? This kid had actually comprehended such a terrifying martial skill. No wonder he was able to avert danger so many times and defeat martial arts experts who were stronger than him. Emperor's Domain. Yu Qianing snorted as she unleashed her Emperor's Domain. The Emperor's Law descended, and an array of Emperor's Light shone on Long Yu. Tying Force, Thunder Force. Not to be outdone, Long Yu also unleashed 2 Earthly Seal grade Heavenly Steel's Law to resist Yu Qianing's Emperor's Domain. If Long Yu was at the 5th layer of the true spirit secret realm, he might not be able to resist Yu Qianing's Emperor Domain, even if he used the 2 great Heavenly Steel Laws. After all, Yu Qianing's martial Dao realm was too high, and the Emperor's Law was originally at the Mystic Jade level. The difference between it and the Heaven Steel's Law wasn't as great as the ordinary Yellowstone Law. But now, Yu Qianing had been struck into the cycle of reincarnation. Her Emperor Domain had been weakened by more than half. You're actually able to resist my Monarch Domain. Not bad. Unfortunately, your martial path is too weak. Yu Qianing sneered and released her true spirit. The Shadow Emperor's true spirit. A Shadow Dancer Emperor's true soul materialized behind Yu Qianing. This was the first time most people had seen Yu Qianing's true soul. The Shadow Emperor's true spirit was the Emperor of the Shadow Dance. Even though it was just a black shadow, it exuded the aura of a monarch. The moment it appeared, it was as if a monarch had descended, causing Yu Qianing's monarch domain to increase by several folds. Simultaneously cultivating the 1,000 silk threads shadow guard technique and the spring and autumn imperial sutra, comprehending the Yellowstone rank 1,000 silk thread domain and the mystic jade rank monarch domain, Long Yu's heart skipped a beat when he felt the monarch's aura. He knew that this true soul was much stronger than his heaven-suppressing sun true spirit. Now, his heaven-suppressing sun true spirit had condensed into a physical form, but he didn't dare to release it, because once he released it, others would be able to see that his sun true spirit had condensed into a solid form, but he had not stepped into the fourth level of the true spirit's secret realm. There was only one possibility, and that was that he still had a second true spirit, and it had not condensed into a solid form yet. Right now, Long Yu didn't want to expose the fact that he had a second true soul. Extreme explosion. Facing the incomparable pressure of the monarch domain, Long Yu gritted his teeth, and the lunar wings on his back spread out, instantly dispersing the pressure on his body. Following that, Long Yu turned into a ray of black light and appeared behind Yu Qianing in a blink of an eye. 9 Nether Dragon Fist, Reincarnation Awakening. As Long Yu punched, the reincarnation force enveloped the Shadow Emperor's true soul. In the next moment, the True Sowl's true soul was also sent into reincarnation, and its strength was reduced by half. At this level, Long Yu could still fight against the 2 Heavenly Steel's domain and Monarch domain. 9 Nether Dragon Fist, Drunken Yellow Springs. Long Yu punched again and again, not giving Yu Qianing a chance to catch her breath. As the formless spirit of Yellow Springs flew out and bound Yu Qianing's body, the path of Yellow Springs formed by the 9 Nether Chi also enveloped Yu Qianing. Wait, it's fake. Just as Long Yu's fist was about to land on Yu Qianing, he suddenly frowned. In the next moment, countless shadow threads formed into a wide spider web that fell from the sky towards Long Yu. As expected, the Yu Qianing that was bound by the spirit of Yellow Springs was only an afterimage. The real Yu Qianing had already arrived above Long Yu's head and used Thousand Thread Sec's ultimate technique, Shadow Spiderweb. Compared to Yu Qimei's Shadow Spiderweb, Yu Qianing's spiderweb contained a monarch's aura and an extremely powerful pressure, much stronger than the real one. Nightmare Thunder Force, break for me. With the 9 Nether Dragon Spear in hand, Long Yu condensed the power of the Nightmare Thunder Force at the tip of the spear and tore a large hole in the Shadow Spiderweb. Then, Long Yu's spear tip trembled, and the Nether Dragon leap. Facing Yu Qianing, who was only at the 4th level of the true spirit realm, Long Yu was at ease and would not let himself be in danger at any time. After breaking the Shadow Spiderweb with the power of the destructive Thunder Force, Long Yu fell from the sky and used the Heavenly Suppressing Spear art accompanied by the Heavenly Suppressing Force. Even if it was only a Yellowstone law, when used with the Heavenly Suppressing Spear art, it was able to display the power of a mystic jade law. Kill. Long Yu's Heavenly Suppressing Spear art landed on the ground of the Imperial Army Marshall Field, causing a cloud of dust to rise. Yu Qianing's speed was extremely fast. The moment she was hit by the Heavenly Suppressing Spear art, she had already quietly dodged Long Yu's spear. This Long Yu, to be able to fight against Yu Qimei for so long, is really unusual. That's natural. Just by looking at how he defeated Yu Qimei in 2 moves, you can tell how strong he is. However, I think that Long Yu is still at a disadvantage. How can a kid at the 3rd level of the True Spirit Realm be a match for an expert at the 5th level of the True Spirit Realm? That's not necessarily true. Look at him now. Isn't Long Yu completely suppressing Yu Qianing? On the spectator stand, tens of thousands of people were discussing and pointing at the battle. What they didn't know was that Yu Qianing's martial Dao realm had temporarily fallen to the 4th level of the True Spirit Realm because of Long Yu's reincarnation cycle. In terms of basic strength, there wasn't much difference between Long Yu and Yu Qianing. If it was an ordinary expert at the 5th level of the True Spirit Realm, Long Yu would have killed him long ago. For example, Gu Hebo or Wang Yuanshan. However, Yu Qianing's strength was much stronger than these people. In the end, it was because Yu Qianing had received special training from Chu Chaosheng, cultivated the Spring and Autumn Imperial Scripture, and comprehended a mystic jade law domain. Almost there. Almost there. One more punch. Long Yu threw a punch at Yu Qianing, his eyes flashing with a cold light. This punch contained the 9 underworld chi, forming a black whirlpool in front of him. Then, he threw a punch at Yu Qianning. As he continued to use the 9 Underworld Dragon Fist, his understanding of the 9 Underworld Law became deeper, and he was finally about to make a breakthrough. Just one more step. Just one more step, and Long, you would be able to comprehend the 9 Underworld Law, condense the 9 Underworld Dragon's true spirit into a physical body, and step into the 4th level of the true spirit realm. However, Long Yu felt that he was still lacking some pressure. Yu Qianning might be strong, but she wasn't strong enough to stimulate Long Yu's potential. If he could have another expert to fight against, then, just as Long Yu was thinking about this, Yu Qianning dodged his punch, which contained the 9 Underworld Qi, and said, "Stinking brat, it seems like not only are you tough, but you also have some fighting skills. Unfortunately, if you think that I, Yu Qianning, only have this much ability, then you're wrong." As she said this, her aura suddenly rose steadily. Originally, Long Yu was sure that his palm of reincarnation had suppressed her martial Dao to the 4th level of the true spirit realm. But now, Yu Qianning's aura suddenly exploded. The 5th level of the true spirit realm. She actually recovered and broke through the restraints of the palm of reincarnation. And it still hasn't stopped. The 6th level of the true spirit realm. Yu Qianning released the concealment of her strength. It could be seen that she was a super expert of the 6th level of the true spirit realm, but she had been concealing her strength, which was why others thought that she was only at the 5th level. The 6th level of the true spirit realm. On the Jintian clan spectator stand, Bai Yunzong's expression changed. No wonder Chu Chaoshen was so confident in Yu Qianning. She had already stepped into the 6th level of the true spirit realm, the strongest state before the true spirit as one. Yu Qianning was just one step away from stepping into the true spirit as one realm. At that time, she would be able to do whatever she wanted in the Great Tang Kingdom. Even the sect leaders of the 4 great clans and 7 major sects would have to be polite to Yu Qianning. They might not even win in a fight. One must know that Yu Qianning had cultivated the imperial scripture of spring and autumn, and had comprehended the Dark Jade Realm Emperor's domain. In this aspect, Yu Qianning had completely suppressed the sect leaders of the 7 major sects and 4 great clans. As expected of Princess Qianxi, this aura is too strong. There were more than a few people who were shocked. When the tens of thousands of people saw Yu Qianning's true cultivation, they all took a deep breath. If she was given enough time to reach the 6th level of the true spirit realm at such a young age, she would definitely be able to step into the legendary realm of one with the heavens. The Jintian clan's Long Yu is going to lose this time. That's right. No matter how strong he is, it's impossible for him to defeat Yu Qianning, who is 3 levels higher than him. His basic strength is 7 to 8 times weaker. In front of Yu Qianning, Long Yu is like a baby. There's no way he can defeat him. The tens of thousands of people came to the same conclusion at the same time. Long Yu was definitely going to lose, and he would not be able to resist at all. However, no one knew that Long Yu was at the critical moment of breaking through to the next level. Yu Qianning had hidden her strength, but when she revealed her true strength, Long Yu felt a strong pressure. This pressure made his blood boil, and he broke through the last bottleneck. 9 Netherrealm concept comprehended. Chapter 216. When Yu Qianning displayed her true strength, Long Yu finally underwent a transformation under the pressure and comprehended the 9 Serenities realm. Suddenly, the aura of the 9 Serenities ran through his body, and the real spirit of the dragon of the 9 Serenities in his Dantian finally solidified, causing his aura to change. He advanced. The tens of thousands of people in the Imperial Army stared at Long Yu with their eyes wide open in disbelief. Yu Qianning had hidden her martial arts realm, and her true strength was actually at the 6th level of the true spirit realm, which was already shocking enough. But under such pressure, Long Yu of the Jintian clan actually managed to condense his real spirit into a solid form and stepped into the 4th level of the true spirit realm. My basic strength has doubled after stepping into the 4th level of the true spirit realm, reaching the strength of 8 June. Long Yu's eyes shone with confidence. His basic strength had reached 8 June, which meant that with the effect of the Thunderbolt body, a casual punch from him would have a terrifying strength of 12 June. A punch was equivalent to the strength of 10,000 galloping horses. But that was not the most important change. When he comprehended the 9 Serenities realm and the real spirit of the dragon of the 9 Serenities solidified, he could feel that the dragon seal of the 9 Serenities on his chest had undergone another transformation. Once the transformed dragon seal of the 9 Serenities was activated, it would increase his strength by 10 June, making his basic strength no weaker than an expert at the 5th level of the true spirit realm. Other than that, a set of powerful martial arts techniques was transmitted into his mind through the dragon seal of the 9 Serenities, allowing him to cultivate it. 9 nether explosions. This set of martial arts techniques was said to be superior to the martial arts techniques of the entire Heavenly Mandate continent, and it was a super powerful martial arts technique from the Great Desolation era. Until now, only the descendant of the dragon, the 9 Serenities tribe, could successfully cultivate it. In Long Yu's memory, even the people of the 9 Serenities tribe might not be able to successfully cultivate this technique. I'll put the 9 nether explosions aside for now. Even if I were to cultivate it, it would take a long time. I can't cultivate it on the fighting platform. Long Yu raised his head and looked at Yu Qianning. Yu Qianning wore a light yellow robe, and her aura was that of a human emperor. The Shadow Emperor's true spirit appeared behind her, making her look like a Shadow Emperor. You actually broke through, but what's the use even if you break through now? Yu Qianning sneered as she raised her hand. Her Emperor domain once again enveloped Long Yu. Heaven-suppressing sun. Long Yu gritted his teeth and instantly released his sun true spirit. Immediately, the heaven-suppressing sun appeared behind him and a violent heaven-suppressing domain was released. However, even after unleashing the heaven-suppressing sun, Long Yu's heaven-suppressing domain was still unable to withstand Yu Qianning's Emperor domain. 9 Nether Dragon Fist, Reincarnation Awakening. Long Yu punched out, and the power of reincarnation spread out, instantly weakening the descending monarch domain by a level. With a loud bang, the heaven-suppressing domain and Emperor domain collided, creating a terrifying airflow that pushed Long Yu back a few steps. However, Yu Qianning did not even take a step back. It was obvious that the difference in their strength was too great. Since you've seen my true strength, I'll show you the Chu clan's powerful martial skill. Yu Qianning smiled coldly. It's your honor to be defeated by the Chu clan's martial skill. As soon as she finished speaking, Yu Qianning raised her hand and an emperor's aura condensed in her hand, releasing a sharp emperor's aura. Emperor Qi Heavenly Flow. The Chu clan's transcendent spiritual martial skill, combined with Yu Qianning's 6th level of the true spirit secret realm. This move was enough to split mountains and rivers. Even if Mount Tai was in front of Yu Qianning, she would be able to split it in half. A wave of golden emperor Qi exploded and turned into 5 streams of Qi that attacked Long Yu from different directions. Each of the golden air currents contained boundless destructive power. If one were to be hit directly, even an LV6 true spirit realm expert would be turned into ashes. So it's this move. Long Yu is in danger. On the sky-suppressing spectator stand, Bai Yunzong's expression changed drastically. Even he, Bai Yunzong, would need to spend some effort to deal with Yu Qianning, who was at the 6th level of the true spirit secret realm, using the royal Qi heavenly flow. But Long Yu had just stepped into the 4th level of the true spirit secret realm. How was he going to deal with it? Should he surrender? Unfortunately, in Long Yu's mind, the 2 words admit defeat had never existed. Emperor Qi Heavenly Flow, the royal clan's transcendent spiritual martial skill. Let me see how strong you are. Long Yu's heart was filled with the desire to challenge. The stronger the enemy, the more it would stimulate his fighting spirit. Yu Qianning, who was in the 6th level of the true spirit secret realm, was still within his range. Extreme explosion. Samsara awakening. The lunar wings unfurled from Long Yu's back, and he burst forth with unparalleled speed. Then, he punched out one punch after another, and the power of reincarnation enveloped the 5 streams of royal aura. Under the effect of the samsara force, the power of the 5 emperor chi heavenly flows dropped by a level. However, it was still not something that Long Yu could take head-on. Following this, his figure turned into a black ray of light and sped around the area. The 5 emperor chi heavenly flows followed closely behind him at a speed faster than him. As the golden emperor chi heavenly flows were about to land on Long Yu's back, Long Yu threw another punch. Samsara awakening. Boundless samsara force enveloped Yu Qianing, and in that instant, she was once again sent into the samsara awakening, causing her cultivation to drop by a level. Thunderous prowess, thunderous tyrant body. Lightning crackled around Long Yu's body as he turned around and threw a punch at the 5 emperor chi heavenly flows. After weakening Yu Qianing's cultivation and weakening the power of the 5 emperor chi heavenly flows, Long Yu was confident that he could take on this martial skill head-on. The golden chi heavenly flows and the purple lightning collided in midair, causing a purplish golden chi current to explode. In the chaos, Long Yu's figure retreated continuously, leaving the area where the purplish golden chi current exploded. His face was covered in cold sweat. Just a little bit more. He almost failed to take on the attack of the 5 emperor chi heavenly flows, and this was the 5 emperor chi heavenly flows that he had weakened twice. The martial skill of the royal Chu clan was indeed extraordinary. Yu Qianing was without a doubt the strongest opponent that Long Yu had ever faced since he stepped onto the martial path. Yu Qianing, who had reached the 6th rank of the true spirit secret realm, was probably one of the top 9 young experts of the Tang Kingdom. What was certain was that she was definitely stronger than Mo Fengming of the Mo clan, who was ranked 3rd. Your strength is not bad, and your martial skill is quite strange. Yu Qianing's cold voice could be heard, followed by a burst of golden emperor chi that dispersed the purplish golden chi current. Her figure, who was wearing a light yellow robe, appeared in front of Long Yu along with the Shadow Emperor's true spirit. In just an instant, Yu Qianing's martial skill had recovered to the 6th rank of the true spirit secret realm. The effect of the palm of Samsara awakening was negligible on her second attempt, and it would only weaken the opponent for a brief moment before losing its effect. However, the palm of Samsara awakening was a supreme spiritual level martial skill after all. It was definitely not weaker than the heavenly flows of Emperor Qi when it was used. Fighting with an expert was indeed a great way to break through bottlenecks, and it was easier for the martial skill to break through to a higher realm in the midst of life and death. At this moment, Long Yu's heart was beating extremely fast, and he seemed to have gained a deeper understanding of the palm of Samsara awakening. 9 underworlds, Yellow Springs, Samsara. Long Yu linked the 3 together in his heart, and the netherworld state quietly emanated from his body. Reincarnation can be used not only on one's enemies, but on oneself as well. Reincarnation allows one to see the past and the future. Samsara awakening palm, this top-grade spirit-level martial skill. Long Yu finally comprehended it to the peak realm after comprehending the 9 nether concept. When the palm of awakening reincarnation reached its pinnacle, a single punch actually allowed Long Yu to see his own future. In this scene, Long Yu saw that he had already stepped into the 5th layer of the true spirit secret realm. With the Yellow Springs drunken reclining, he actually gathered a wave of netherworld chi and formed a Yellow Springs barrier around him. This was drunken reclining in the Yellow Springs, who had cultivated to the transcendent realm. He could actually form the Yellow Springs barrier to protect himself. Instantly, Long Yu gained some understanding of the underworld drunken skill. Seeing the future, comprehending the martial skill, and reaching the pinnacle of the palm of reincarnation actually had such a heaven-defying ability. Although his combat strength did not increase, It greatly increased the speed at which Long Yu comprehended the martial skill. I could try to gather the netherworld chi and form the Yellow Springs barrier later, Long Yu thought to himself as he raised his head to look at Yu Qianing. Yu Qianing was his opponent, but wasn't she also a stepping stone for him? Stepping on Yu Qianing, Long Yu would be able to step into a higher realm of the martial way, strengthening his martial heart. Heavenly royal chi flow. Yu Qianing did not give Long Yu too much time to rest. She raised her hand, and the heavenly royal chi flow attacked again. This time, Yu Qianing had already formed a resistance against the palm of reincarnation. Even if she was struck by the palm of reincarnation, her martial realm would not fall. Therefore, Long Yu could only face it head-on. Palm of reincarnation. As per usual, Long Yu threw out a few punches to weaken the power of the 5 heavenly royal chi flows. Then, he raised his hand and began to gather the netherworld chi around him. It was exactly the same as what Long Yu had seen in the future. A layer of the Yellow Springs barrier appeared beside Long Yu, flickering with the strange light of the 9 underworlds. When the 5 streams of golden imperial aura slammed into the nether spring barrier, 9 nether runes appeared on the barrier, and a strange power it produced completely dispersed the power of the 5 streams of golden imperial aura. The transcendent drunken reclining in the Yellow Springs. The Yellow Springs barrier's defensive capabilities are so terrifying. Long Yu was not the only one who was shocked. The entire Imperial army's tens of thousands of people could not take their eyes off of this scene. It was too exciting. Chapter 2:17. The tens of thousands of people were shocked by Long Yu's terrifying strength. If such a young man was allowed to grow, his achievements would definitely surpass Yu Qianing's. He was indeed the son of the former general, Long Zaiqian. How could the son of the dragon be ordinary? Unfortunately, many people knew that it would be difficult for Long Yu to leave this place alive. In fact, it was hard to say whether they could win this battle or not. Although the crowd had witnessed Long Yu's strength, his opponent was Yu Qianing, who was at the rank 6 true spirit realm. Seeing that Long Yu had actually condensed a strange black barrier to block her Emperor Qi heavenly current, the disdain in Yu Qianing's eyes faded. This kid was really too strange. Each time, Yu Qianing felt that she would be able to get rid of Long Yu. However, he would always be able to block her attacks time and time again. Looks like I can only use that move. Yu Qianing made up her mind and smiled coldly at Long Yu, as if he was a dead man. She raised her hand, and a golden emperor's aura surged out and formed a small golden ball in front of her. The golden ball grew bigger and bigger as the golden emperor's aura gathered. After a few breaths' time, it turned into a golden human figure. It's the emperor summoning spiritual skill. Among the tens of thousands of people, many of them were familiar with the Chu family's martial skills and could immediately tell what kind of skill it was. The Emperor's summoning spiritual skill was the strongest martial skill of the Chu family. It had surpassed the spiritual level and was a profound level martial skill. Which was stronger between a profound level martial skill and a top-grade spiritual martial skill? No one knew because no one had ever used a top-grade spiritual martial skill before. But now, the answer was about to be revealed. The Emperor's summoning spiritual skill used the aura of the Emperor's law to summon an ancient emperor to crush everything. The strength of the ancient emperor that was summoned was related to the cultivation realm of the person who used the emperor summoning spiritual skill. Yu Qianing, who was at the rank 6 true spirit realm, used this skill to summon an ancient emperor that was at the rank 6 true spirit realm. What is this? Long Yu stood not too far away. He removed the barrier and looked at Yu Qianing with a serious expression. No matter what, he could feel that the golden orb's human form was extremely powerful. If Yu Qianing was allowed to complete this move, then Long Yu would be defeated. Take the initiative to attack. Without hesitation, Long Yu extended his lunar wings and charged towards Yu Qianing at his fastest speed. The distance of several dozen zhang was covered in the blink of an eye. Then, Long Yu punched out. The energy of the netherworld condensed, and the Yellow Springs drunken, slumbering. The spirit of Yellow Springs was formless and invisible, and it immediately bound Yu Qianning's body. The Yellow Springs path formed by the Nine Nether Chi was also paving toward Yu Qianning. However, at this moment, Yu Qianning's eyes flashed with disdain. "You want to trap me with this move? Dream on." Yu Qianning laughed sinisterly. Then, a golden emperor's chi exploded from her body. In an instant, her entire body was wrapped in a golden light. The spirit of the netherworld that bound her just now was dispersed by this burst of golden light. There was a difference of 2 levels in the martial Dao realm between the two sides. This gap was too great. Then, Yu Qianning held the golden orb in her hand. Her body flashed, leaving only a shadow on the spot, and she escaped from the range of the Yellow Springs path. Even if Long Yu's speed was fast, Yu Qianning's speed was not slow either. If the two of them were to compete purely in terms of speed, it could be said that they were on the same level. Let me show you a Xian-level martial technique, summoning Emperor's Spirit Art. Yu Qianning laughed coldly. She raised her hand, and the golden human form in her hand broke free from her control. Gradually, it turned into a golden figure with a huge sword in its hand. Xian-level martial technique? Long Yu's heart skipped a beat. It's a Xian-level martial technique. No wonder he felt such a strong Emperor's Chi. Long Yu had never seen a Xian-level martial technique before, but just from the aura of Yu Qianning's move, he could feel that it was extraordinary. This caused Long Yu to look forward to it even more. He wondered what kind of terrifying might the Nether Dragon 9 explosions, a martial skill inherited from the Great Desolate Realm, would possess. Xian-level martial technique? I really want to see it for myself. A challenge rose in Long Yu's heart. Glancing over, he saw a golden figure wielding a great sword materializing in front of Yu Qianning. His golden eyes emitted a boundless emperor's aura. The Emperor of the Great Sword. It's the Chu clan, the Emperor of the Great Sword from the previous generation. I didn't expect Yu Qianning to summon the Emperor of the Great Sword. Many people exclaimed. The characters summoned by the Summoning Emperor Spirit technique were mostly powerful existences in the history of the Royal Chu family. Each of these existences had left a heavy mark in the history of the Great Tang Empire. It was the same for the Emperor of the Great Sword. Rumor had it that the Emperor of the Great Sword had left the Heavenly Mandate continent for a bigger world, but no one knew exactly where he was. It had been 100 years since the era of the Emperor of the Great Sword. It was even questionable if he was still alive. But no matter what, the Emperor of the Great Sword's strength was undeniable. At the age of 22, the Emperor of the Great Sword had stepped into the legendary realm of oneness of heaven and human, becoming a legend in the Heavenly Mandate continent. The Emperor of the Great Sword could be said to be the strongest existence that the Chu clan had ever produced. It was because of the Emperor of the Great Sword that the Chu clan was able to stand tall in the Great Tang Empire for so long. This aura, it's terrifying. Long Yu clenched his teeth. He could feel the waves of Emperor's chi coming from the golden figure of the Emperor of the Great Sword, making it hard for him to breathe. The 6th level of the true spirit realm. When Yu Qianning executed the Summoning Emperor Spirit Art, Long Yu would have to fight against 2 experts at the 6th level of the true spirit realm alone. If it was any other martial cultivator at the 4th level of the true spirit realm, they would not even dare to think about it. But now, Long Yu was filled with endless battle intent. So what if it's the Emperor of the Great Sword? Long Yu held the 9 Nether Dragon Spear in his hand as a cold light flashed in his eyes. No matter how strong the Emperor of the Great Sword was, he only needed to deal with Yu Qianning. As long as he could defeat Yu Qianning with the Summoning Emperor Spirit Art, the Emperor of the Great Sword would be destroyed. Great Sword Whirlwind. As soon as the golden figure of the Emperor of the Great Sword appeared, the sword in its hand was swung horizontally. Suddenly, a golden whirlwind of sword light shot out at a terrifying speed. Seeing this, Long Yu's heart skipped a beat. Strong, it's too strong. This great sword whirlwind was definitely a martial skill that surpassed the spiritual level. Long Yu did not expect that the Emperor that Yu Qianning had summoned would be able to execute a profound level martial skill that was even stronger. I can't fight it head on. Long Yu's heart skipped a beat as he immediately made a decision. Since Yu Qianning had used the Summoning Emperor Spirit Art as her trump card, the Emperor of the Great Sword must have a terrifying strength and would be harder to deal with than Yu Qianning herself. Drunken Underworld. Long Yu punched out in the air, and instantly, the netherworld qi condensed into a yellow spring barrier, blocking in front of him. Immediately after, the lunar wings spread out, bringing him back rapidly. The golden sword whirlwind actually shattered the yellow spring's barrier in an instant, following which it continued its assault on Long Yu. Long Yu's martial skill realm was too low. Even if he used the drunken underworld and formed the underworld barrier, he would not be able to withstand a casual attack from the Emperor of the Great Sword. This time, Long Yu is definitely going to lose. However, I did not expect Yu Qianning to be able to comprehend the Summoning Emperor Spirit Art and summon the Emperor of the Great Sword at the age of 18. This talent is even more terrifying than Chu Chaoxing's. With the Emperor of the Great Sword, Yu Qianning will be able to easily face an expert in the rank 7 true spirit realm. Tens of thousands of people exclaimed at the same time. It could be said that this was the most exciting moment since the beginning of the martial arts discussion. No matter who it was, what they wanted to see the most was a battle between experts. It would be beneficial to their own martial Dao cultivation. At this moment, the battle between Yu Qianning and Long Yu had benefited many people. Lunar wings. It's all up to you. Long Yu continued to retreat, his lunar wings unfurled, instantly bringing him up into the sky, as if he was a demonic beast with wings. This kind of flight would not last long, but even if it was only for a few breaths' time, it would give Long Yu an advantage. He's flying, he's flying. Long Yu's top-grade spiritual artifact is too shocking. Facing the sovereign spirit of the Great Sword Emperor, could it be that Long Yu still wishes to resist? Everyone's attention was focused on Long Yu, who was flying in the sky. Everyone knew that only those who had reached the legendary realm of one with the heavens could fly in the sky. But now, with the help of the lunar wings, Long Yu had done it. Soaring through the air, he was like a soaring eagle. Even so, what's the use? Yu Qianning's face was full of disdain. She waved her hand, and the Emperor of the Great Sword moved according to her will. A golden sword ray whirlwind was formed and flew towards Long Yu. The golden sword ray was dazzling, but Long Yu ignored it. Reverse scale touch. He held the 9 nether dragon spear firmly in his hand as he spat a mouthful of blood on the tip of the spear. Then a thunderous destructive force descended from the sky towards Yu Qianning. At the same time, the lunar wings on his back flapped, instantly allowing him to just barely avoid the large golden sword whirlwind that swept towards him. A spear was aimed at Yu Qianning. The Emperor of the Great Sword was too strong for Long Yu to fight against. Since that was the case, he only needed to use his agility in the sky to attack Yu Qianning. Heavenly flow of royal energy. Yu Qianning snorted coldly. Long Yu wanted to attack her body. Was she that weak? 5 golden streams of heavenly flow of royal energy surged out from 5 different directions towards the descending Long Yu. 9 Nether Dragon Fist. Long Yu loosened his grip on the 9 Nether Dragon Spear, allowing the spear to meet the 5 streams of heavenly flow of royal energy. As for his own body, he flapped his wings and flew in another direction. Aiming at Yu Qianning, he threw out a punch. The speed at which the chi of 9 underworlds condensed was even faster, and the Yellow Springs path was formed in an instant. Now that he had reached the transcendent realm, not only could he form the Yellow Spring barrier for defense, but his offensive power was also several times stronger than before. Yu Qianning's expression changed. Chapter 218. Unable to react in time to Long Yu's agile attacks, Yu Qianning was enveloped by the Yellow Springs path and was unable to move at all. Long Yu seized the opportunity and threw a punch at Yu Qianning, ignoring the 9 Nether Dragon Spear that was clashing with the 5 streams of golden imperial aura. The 9 Nether Chi condensed on Long Yu's fist and landed on Yu Qianning's snow-white chest. Yu Qianning was unable to resist and was sent flying by the punch. The great sword emperor's spirit that she had summoned also stopped moving when she was stunned. Only when Long Yu's fist sent Yu Qianing flying did she finally groan in pain and came back to her senses. Kill him. Yu Qianing did not want to admit defeat. Instead, she commanded the great sword emperor's spirit with a fierce look in her eyes. The great sword emperor's royal spirit's pair of golden eyes burst with a bright light. Immediately after, it rushed towards Long Yu. The great sword in its hand danced rapidly, condensing a golden great sword tornado. It wanted to cut Long Yu into pieces. In the next moment, Long Yu raised his hand and grabbed the 9 nether dragon spear that was sent flying by the 5 streams of imperial aura again. Then, the lunar wings flapped and Long Yu turned into a black ray of light. He placed the spear in front of Yu Qianing's neck. You've lost. Admit defeat, Long Yu said coldly. However, Yu Qianing did not say a word. Her vicious eyes were filled with unwillingness. Of course, she would not admit defeat to a kid at the 4th level of the true spirit realm. Yu Qianing actually didn't care that her life was in Long Yu's hands. She wanted to kill Long Yu in the Imperial Army's martial field. Stop. She has already lost. In the Jintian clan spectator area, White Cloud Trace stood up and shouted at Chu Chaosheng, who was not far away. Long Yu's 9 nether dragon spear was pressed against Yu Qianing's neck. As long as he exerted a bit of force, she would die. Under such circumstances, Yu Qianing would naturally lose. However, Yu Qianing did not admit defeat. Instead, she ordered the Emperor of the Great Sword to continue attacking Long Yu. This was extremely shameless. Really, Chu Chaosheng smiled faintly and ignored by Yunzong's shout. Instead, he said, if he can kill Qianning, then let him try. Hearing those words, Bai Yunzong's expression changed. Poison. Previously, Yu Qimei had poisoned Long Yu during the chaotic battle. Now that Long Yu had been fighting Yu Qianning for so long, it was natural that he would be poisoned as well. Despicable. Zhong Yunzong cursed inwardly and immediately stood up, wanting to enter the arena to save Long Yu. However, very quickly, something unexpected happened. If you don't admit defeat, then you're seeking death. Long Yu's eyes flashed with coldness. Of course, he had already felt the poison coursing through his body. If this poison were to explode, his entire body would be numb and unable to move, just like Yu Qianing. Just now, when he pressed the tip of his spear against Yu Qianing's neck, the poison exploded. However, the 9 Underworld's dragon seal suddenly heated up and completely suppressed the poison. In a few breaths of time, it had completely dispersed the poison. In other words, everyone thought that Long Yu was poisoned, but Long Yu was not. Yu Qianing's eyes were full of hatred. She thought that Long Yu was unable to move. Because of this, she didn't admit defeat and instead ordered the Emperor of the Great Sword to continue attacking Long Yu. A golden whirlwind pierced through the air, full of killer's intent. Long Yu hissed and stabbed down with his spear, piercing through Yu Qianing's snow-white shoulder. Fresh blood dyed the tip of the spear red. Yu Qianing was not prepared at all. She screamed in pain, and the hatred in her eyes intensified. The poison didn't take effect. Stop. This time, Chu Chaosheng could no longer sit still. His expression changed as he stood up. Yu Qianing was his daughter. Though he had always treated her like a tool, he did not want to see her killed in the arena. Long Yu was not affected by the poison. In other words, Long Yu had the ability to kill Yu Qianing. Under these circumstances, there was no way Chu Chaosheng would sit still. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this critical moment, several extremely fast figures dashed toward the center of the field at the same time. Long Yu wanted to use his spear to lift Yu Qianing up and let her have a taste of the power of the golden whirlwind. But right at this moment, a fragrant wind blew and a palm landed on Long Yu's chest. The sect leader of the Thousand Thread sect, Yu Ruyan, was the first to act. She sent Long Yu flying and saved Yu Qianing at the same time. Long Yu spat out a mouthful of blood. Like a broken kite, he flew backwards and landed heavily on the ground. As the sect leader of the Thousand Thread sect, Yu Ruyan had long reached the realm of true soul as one. Her strength was not inferior to Baizong. Even a casual palm from her was enough to severely injure Long Yu. His internal organs felt like they had been shattered. From the beginning, Yu Ruyan had been paying attention to the situation and was ready to act. Even Baizong could not catch up to her. When Baizong leaped high into the air and headed towards the Imperial Army's dojo, Chu Chaoxing smiled faintly and blocked Baizong's path. Sect leader Bai, the outcome of this battle has been decided. What else do you want? Chu Chaoxing said playfully. The outcome has been decided. Baizong harumphed coldly. He wanted to see what Chu Chaoxing had up his sleeves. Of course, Yu Qianing almost killed Long Yu with her summoning Emperor's spiritual art. If it wasn't for Ruyan who pushed that brat away, I'm afraid he would have been killed by the whirlwind. Chu Chaoxing said indifferently. Yu Qianing wins this battle. The moment these words were spoken, the crowd was in an uproar. This Chu Chaoxing was really shameless. Everyone saw what happened just now. Long Yu was about to kill Yu Qianing. It was Yu Ruyan who pushed Yu Qianing away and injured Long Yu with a palm. Chu Chaoxing actually said that it was Yu Ruyan who saved Long Yu. Chu Chaoxing, your ability to distort right and wrong is improving day by day. Baizong's face darkened. He did not expect Chu Chaoxing to be so shameless. But here, Chu Chaoxing's words were the truth. No one would refute him. It was impossible to defeat Chu Chaoxing with just White Cloud Trace and Tang Qin, the sect master of the Ice Sect. Chu Chaoxing stopped Baizong, but Yu Ruyan did not stop after saving Yu Qianing. Yu Ruyan, dressed in white, looked dignified and elegant. She slowly walked towards Long Yu, who was vomiting blood and lying on the ground. In her eyes, there was a trace of mockery, playfulness, and a trace of pleasure from revenge. The son of Yu and that bitch is right in front of me, and I can take his life at any time. Yu Ruyan thought of 20 years ago, when Long Zaiqian ignored her and fell head over heels for the girl from the Heavenly Mandate Academy. She could not suppress the anger and resentment in her heart. Now, looking at Long Yu, looking at the son of Long Zaiqian and Bei Yu Yao, in front of her, his life and death were all up to her. It was as if all the hatred she had accumulated over the past 20 years had gathered together. She wanted to kill Long Yu. In this martial arts competition of the seven sects, she saw Long Yu's terrifying martial arts talent. If he was allowed to continue to grow, she was afraid that she would not be able to control him. Enough is enough. Just as Yu Ruyan strode forward, an aged sigh rang out from an inconspicuous corner of the spectator stands. Then, an old man in a gray robe, draped in a cloak, walked towards the field. With each step the old man took, the air seemed to be filled with the smell of blood. Everyone could smell the stench of a bloody storm. Old man, Yu Ruyan's expression changed. Of course, she recognized who this old man was. He was the previous master of the Long family, and the father of the current master, Long Ruotian, Long Yuanjian. At the same time, this old man was Long Yuanjian, the father of Long Zaiqian, and also Long Yu's grandfather. Grandfather? Long Yu struggled to stand up, and as soon as he saw this old man, he accurately guessed the identity of the old man based on his intuition. His grandfather, Long Yuanjian, was very strong. Now, Long Yu could roughly guess that sect masters like Bai Yunzong, Yu Ruyan, and Tang Qin, as well as the master of a family like Wang Ju, all had the strength of the 8th tier of the true spirit realm. And Chu Chaoxing should have just stepped in the 9th tier of the true spirit realm. As for the gray-robed old man, Long Yuanjian, who was also Long Yu's grandfather, he had reached the 9th level of the true spirit realm a long time ago. He was only a step away from the legendary realm of being one with the world. Even if Chu Chaoxing fought with Long Yuanjian, he would definitely not be a match for Long Yuanjian. Not to mention Yu Ruyan. You leave the great Tang. Long Yuan said to Long Yu in a low voice when he saw that Long Yu had arrived. These words made Long Yu recall the warning that Long Yuanjian had entrusted to him not too long ago. Leave the great Tang. But the martial competition of the 7 sects, Long Yu sternly said. He was not willing to accept that the arrogance of the 1,000-thread sects Yu Qianing, which he should have been able to suppress, had been ruined by Chu Chaoxing's nonsense. It's none of your business. Long Yuanjing growled as he raised his head. Beneath the cloak was an elderly face, but his eyes were filled with determination. Okay. Long Yu's heart sank. He knew that there was probably an inside story to this matter that he didn't know about. Given his current cultivation, it was impossible for him to affect the overall situation. Now that the martial competition of the seven sects was over, there was truly no meaning for him, Long Yu, to stay. Since that was the case, it was better to listen to Long Yuanjian and leave the Great Tang first. As for where to go, it was not a problem for Long Yu. The heavenly mandate continent was incomparably vast, and he could find a place to settle down anywhere. Moreover, wandering the outside world might allow him to increase his cultivation level even faster. Even if Chu Chaosheng wanted to seize the heaven-suppressing formula and suppress the Jintian clan, it would not be immediately effective. Long Yu had enough time to improve himself, to train himself until he had the strength to control the entire Great Tang. With Long Yuanjin around, if Long Yu wanted to leave, no one would be able to stop him. However, just as Long Yu made up his mind and was about to turn around to leave the Imperial Army, he saw a familiar figure. Feng Yao, flying in the air. Long Yu raised his head and saw Feng Yao, accompanied by a handsome young man, flying through the air. Like a ray of light, they flew over from outside the Imperial Army's martial field. Flying through the air, the legendary realm of unity of heaven and man. Chapter 219. The second round of the seven-clan competition was full of twists and turns. Originally, everyone thought that Long Yu had chosen to challenge the Thousand Thread sect because he had no other choice. However, they soon realized that Long Yu really did have the strength to defeat the Thousand Thread sect. In 2 moves, he defeated the 14-year-old genius, Yu Qimei. He comprehended it during the battle and used his terrifying strength to fight against Yu Qianing, who was at the 6th level of the true spirit realm. In the end, he almost took her life. This was an exciting battle, and Long Yu had undoubtedly won. However, the left duke, Chu Chaosheng, had reversed the facts and announced that Yu Qianing had won. Moreover, no one could refute him. As a result, the 7 clans would undoubtedly be weakened. After all, the last round was for Yu Qianing to choose her opponent. As long as she chose a random clan to challenge, with her martial Dao realm, she would be able to easily win and plunder the martial arrow competition. At that time, the Thousand Thread sect would be the champion. The tens of thousands of spectators in the surroundings had never imagined that an unexpected change had occurred before the final round had even begun. Yu Ruyan had made the first move, wanting to take Long Yu's life. White Cloud of the Heaven-Suppressing sect and Tang Qin of the Frost sect both wanted to help, but were stopped by Chu Chaosheng alone. Even if it was 1 against 2, Chu Chaosheng wasn't afraid in the slightest. Just as Yu Ruyan was about to attack Long Yu, the mysterious person who had injured Wang Ju finally appeared. Long Yu's grandfather, Long Yuanjian, wore a gray robe and stepped onto the Imperial Army martial field. He stopped Yu Ruyan from killing Long Yu and ordered Long Yu to leave the Tang Empire immediately. Just when everyone thought that the show was about to end, an even more shocking scene appeared. A young and handsome man, holding a young girl in a light green dress, actually flew through the air and flew in from outside the Imperial Army's fighting field. Dong! 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 Countless people's hearts beat faster at this moment. The legendary oneness of heaven and human realm expert had appeared in front of them. One must know that some people had never seen such an expert in their entire lives. Most importantly, that handsome young man looked to be less than 30 years old, yet he had already reached the realm of unity of heaven and man. Who exactly was he? The handsome youth at the one with heaven realm was dressed in a blue robe. He had short hair and a pair of eyes that shone like stars. There was a hint of cynicism in his eyes. On his blue robe, there was an image of an endless sea of stars. Countless stars seemed to twinkle on the robe. It's one of the 7 stars of calamity, the Star Sea Wheel. There were still some people present who were knowledgeable. On the heavenly mandate continent, every one of the 7 Bane stars was famous, They were all fierce people who had reached the realm of oneness of heaven and human beings. Even in the Tang Empire, many people had heard of the legend of the 7 stars of disaster. Because of this, when they saw the handsome young man in a blue robe flying through the air, they quickly guessed his identity. Star Sea Wheel. Long Yu quickly guessed the other party's identity. However, he didn't expect the other party to be so young. Oh no! Long Yuanjin's face darkened when he saw the Starry Sea Leaf Wheel. He knew that it was too late. Today, it would be difficult for Long Yu to leave this place alive. Yaoer. The people of the Liu clan were also present, including Liu Yu. When she saw that her daughter was with a handsome young man who could fly through the air, her face was full of joy. Not bad, not bad. As a mother, she did not let her daughter down. Flying through the air and oneness of heaven and human beings could be said to be the highest realm that Liu Yu knew. In the entire Tang Empire, it was the strongest existence. Reaching the realm of oneness of heaven and human beings, not to mention the Wang clan, the Yuqi clan, and the Jintian clan, even the top 3 sects of the Tang Empire did not have to worry too much. Feng Yao actually got to know such a strong young man, which made Liu Yu very happy. As for Feng Chang'e, he had been training in seclusion recently, trying to break through to the realm of oneness of true spirit, and was not present. Otherwise, Feng Yao might not have appeared with the Starseed Leaf Wheel, because the person she was here to deal with was Long Yu. Little Yao, what are you doing? The moment Tang Qin, the sect master of the Ice Sect, saw Feng Yao and Yi Lun, her heart skipped a beat, and she had a bad feeling. This made Tang Qin very uncomfortable. No matter what, Feng Yao was once a disciple of the Ice Sect. Sect Master. Feng Yao raised her head and looked at Tang Qin with a cold smile on her face. I still call you Sect Leader because you were once my sect leader. However, there has never been a place for me in the Ice Sect. Since that's the case, why don't I find another place to go? The meaning of her words was very clear. Feng Yao was not being nurtured in the Ice Sect, which made her feel unbalanced. Because of this, she had to find another place to go, and this time, she found the Star Sea Leaf Wheel. Who is this? Tang Qin looked at the Star Sea Leaf Wheel. Although she and most people had already guessed his identity, they still needed to confirm it. My name is Yi Luan. Today, I only came for one thing. I will leave after I finish it. The handsome young man, Star Sea Leaf Wheel, with a gentle smile on his face, landed in the middle of the Imperial Army's arena with Feng Yao, not far away from Long Yu. He flew in the air, as light as the wind. After saying this, Yi Lun looked at Long Yu, a trace of indifference flashing through his eyes. He came here today to deal with Long Yu, but a mere Long Yu was nothing in his eyes. Previously, he had sent a few subordinates, including Feng Yao, to surround and kill Long Yu, but Long Yu had killed them instead, which made him realize that Long Yu is not a simple person. Because of this, Starseed Leaf will decided to do it himself. If you want to kill him, you have to go through me first. Wearing a gray robe, Long Yuanjin moved and blocked in front of Long Yu. Although he was no match for Yi Luan, Long Yuanjin couldn't just watch Long Yu be killed. Senior Long, you're no match for me. You'd better get out of my way. Starseed Leaf will said politely. On the surface, Galaxy Yi Luan seemed to be very polite. However, those who were familiar with him knew that he was vicious when it came to killing people. Because of this, Starseed Leaf Wheel was listed as one of the 7 Bane Stars. Of the 7 Bane Stars of the Heavenly Mandate continent, which one of them was not a cruel and merciless person? Seeing the tense situation in the arena, tens of thousands of people present felt their hearts in their mouths at the same time. Starseed Leaf Wheel was here to kill Long Yu. Some people knew that Long Yu seemed to have offended Feng Yao of the Ice Sect, but now Feng Yao was no longer a disciple of the Ice Sect, but a member of Starseed Leaf Wheel. What was the relationship between Feng Yao and Starseed Leaf Wheel? Probably no one knew. On the Jintian clan spectator stand, the 3 heroes of the Feng clan, Ling Han, Lu Guanming, Liao Lele, and a large group of people were watching the arena nervously. They couldn't hear some people's conversations, but they knew that Long Yu was definitely facing a very bad situation now. Even the clan master, Bai Yunzong, was stopped by Chu Chaosheng. The disciples of the Jintian clan could only pray on the side. In the current situation, no matter who stood out, the result would be the same, seeking death. In the face of absolute strength, numbers could not solve any problem at all. When Starseed Leaf will asked Long Yuanjian to get out of the way, Yu Rian finally found an opportunity. She had wanted to kill Long Yu for a long time. She was just stopped by Long Yuanjian, but now, Long Yuanjian was busy dealing with Starseed Leaf Wheel and had no time to pay attention to Yu Rian. A fierce light flashed in Yu Rian's eyes, but she suddenly heard 4 loud and clear words coming from Long Yu's mouth. Where is the Liu clan? Where was the Liu clan? The Liu clan was one of the 4 great families of the Great Tang Empire, and the patriarch was an expert at the 8th level of the true spirit realm. Previously, when Long Yu sold the meteorite containing the mysterious jade-grade meteorite law to Trade World, Chief Steward Lu Fuji had promised Long Yu that he would do something for Long Yu. Now, it was time for them to make their appearance. Long Yu glanced to the spectator stands of the Liu clan not far away. However, he found that at this moment, the Liu clan patriarch, Lu Fuji, and the other members of the Liu clan had no intention of making a move. Little brother Long, I promised you that I would help you as long as it was within the Liu clan's capabilities. But now, forgive us for being powerless. When Lu Fuji heard Long Yu's words, he stood up and said indifferently, how could the Liu clan dare to offend Star Sea Leaf Wheel, one of the 7 stars of calamity, who was at the oneness of heaven and man realm? Helping Long Yu at this time? That was simply courting death. Can't you stop Yu Rian? Long Yu snorted coldly. Lu Fuji glanced at Yu Rian, then glanced at Chu Chaosheng not far away. He shook his head and said, we're powerless. The Liu clan was actually going back on their words. The Liu clan patriarch was also in the 8th level of the true spirit secret realm. Who would believe that he could not stop Yu Rian? They were just afraid that Chu Chaosheng would cause trouble for the Liu clan after this. Most importantly, Long Yu was about to die anyway. Why should they help a dead man? Good, very good. A cold light flashed in Long Yu's eyes. This Liu clan did not seem to be good people. At this point, Long Yu could only use his final trump card. However, even he was not confident that he could use it to deal with the Starsea Leaf Wheel of the heaven-being mystic realm. Hee, you're at death's door, and you're still dreaming that someone will help you? I don't think anyone will stand on your side other than an old fool. Yu Rian sneered. Long Yu's calm expression was reflected in her eyes, which made her feel that something was amiss. At this time, the first battle between true experts finally broke out not far away. Bai Yunzong and Tang Qin finally made their move after looking at each other. The two released their true spirits in an instant. The heaven-suppressing field and ice field roared towards Chu Chaosheng, who was blocking their way. When Long Yu was in danger, even when facing an unbeatable opponent like the Starsea Leaf Wheel, Bai Yunzong and Tang Qin still desperately wanted to fight for him. This was because Long Yu was a disciple of the Jintian clan, and the Ice Sect and the Jintian clan had been working together since the 7-clan martial competition. Tang Qin used this friendship to brazenly make her move. Chapter 220. In an instant, Bai Yun and Chu Chaosheng were locked in a fierce battle. Terrifying heaven-suppressing domain and emperor domain erupted, causing the people nearby to retreat, afraid of being caught in the crossfire. As for Tang Qin, she didn't care about Chu Chaosheng. She immediately rushed towards Long Yu's location. As she sprinted, she left behind a trail of frost. In an instant, the distance between Tang Qin and Long Yu was halved. You want to take him away? Don't even think about it. Yu Ruyan reacted, snorted coldly, and brazenly attacked Tang Qin. The two women, each with peerless beauty, were fighting for Long Yu. Yu Ruyan wanted to kill Long Yu, while Tang Qin wanted to protect Long Yu. Sect leader Tang Qin. Long Yu could not help but be stunned. He had never thought that someone would help him in this situation. He could understand Bai Yun's action, but Tang Qin's was beyond his imagination. No matter what, Tang Qin did not hesitate to offend Yu Ruyan and Chu Chaoxing for Long Yu. Long Yu would remember this kindness. On the other side, Star Ocean Leaf made Feng Yao take a few steps back. She waved her hand, condensing 1,000 rays of starlight, and a terrifying heavenly steel law instantly spread out. Star Ocean Law. Star Ocean Leaf. He had obtained a Star Ocean heavenly steel by chance when he was young. He continued to comprehend and struggle, and finally stepped into the heavenly realm, achieving Star Ocean Law. Experts in the heavenly realm could completely comprehend the laws of heaven and earth. Only those who reached the heavenly realm could upgrade their domain to the true law. The difference between domain and law was too great. Just like Long Yu, if he could comprehend heaven-suppressing law, the pressure would be more than 10 times stronger than heaven-suppressing domain, not to mention the Star Ocean Law, which was a heavenly steel law. The Star Ocean Law spread out, instantly enveloping the gray-robed Long Yuanjian. Bursts of starlight illuminated Long Yuanjian, turning him blue. Blood Dragon. Long Yuanjian was not to be outdone. The Blood Dragon true spirit behind him was instantly released. The terrifying strength of a peak stage true spirit secret realm burst out and dispersed a lot of the starlight. However, the difference between the heavenly being secret realm and the true spirit secret realm was too great. Even though Long Yuanjian was at the peak stage of the true spirit secret realm, he was no match for the Star Ocean Yulin. In just a few breaths of time, the rays of starlight constantly swept over and completely suppressed Long Yuanjian's Blood Dragon true spirit. It was likely that it would be completely destroyed in a short while. Tens of thousands of people were observing the situation in the dojo. Seeing the experts at the One of Heaven and Man realm make their moves, all of them widened their eyes, afraid to miss out on any exciting scenes. When they saw that even Long Yuanjian was completely suppressed by the galaxy wheel, all of them sighed in their hearts. Too strong. Ordinary martial cultivators could not imagine how strong an expert in the unity of heaven and man realm was. However, there were many people who fell indignant. This galaxy wheel, one of the 7 stars of disaster of the heavenly mandate continent, dared to show off in the Tang Empire. Was he looking down on the entire Tang Empire? However, when they looked at the left duke, Chu Chaoxing, they found that Chu Chaoxing had completely suppressed Bai Yunzong. Even Bai Yunzong was vomiting blood and injured. Chu Chaoxing did not care about the galaxy wheel at all. Looking at him, it was as if he had already known that the galaxy wheel would come. It was as if the appearance of the galaxy wheel was arranged by the galaxy wheel. Of course, Long Yu also noticed this. He did not believe that the Tang Empire did not have an expert of the heavenly being's secret realm who could fight against the galaxy wheel. The only explanation was that the galaxy wheel came here with the tacit consent of someone in the Tang Empire. And this person was undoubtedly Chu Chaoxing. Dragon of the 9 Underworlds, it's all up to you now. Long Yu looked around and saw Bai Yunzong spitting blood and flying backward under Chu Chaoxing's continuous attacks. He also saw the anxious Tang Qin repeatedly make mistakes under Yu Ruyan's obstruction and was trapped by Yu Ruyan's shadow spiderweb, on the verge of death. He also saw the scene of Long Yuanjian's age figure being completely suppressed under the starlight of the galaxy wheel. Even the Blood Dragon's true spirit was beginning to crumble. Apart from these people, the tens of thousands of people in the Imperial Army Dojo were all watching the show. For example, the aristocratic families, the Liu family, the Wang family, the Luo family, the Yuqi family, the Pavilion Master and her disciples of the Qingchang Pavilion, the Hidden Fire Temple Master, Hua Haishan, the Broken Blade Sect Master, Chu Shanwu. Wait, a group of people was watching the scene with a sneer. They all wanted to see the scene of Long Yu's death. The scene in the Imperial Army Dojo ignited Long Yu's anger. The Dragon of the 9 Underworld's true spirit was finally about to come out. Although he was usually unwilling to release the Dragon of the 9 Underworld's true spirit because he was afraid that it would affect his body negatively, he could not care less now. If he did not use his trump card, whether it was by Yunzong, Tang Qin, or Long Yuanjian, they would at least be seriously injured or even killed on the spot. No matter what, Long Yu would not let that happen. Dragon of the Nine Underworlds, true spirit. Long Yu shouted to the sky. The nine underworlds' chi burst out from his body and gathered above his head. In an instant, it condensed into a mighty dragon of the nine underworlds' true spirit. The dragon of the nine underworlds seemed to have come from the Yellow Springs. The moment it appeared, it completely turned the surrounding area into the Yellow Springs domain. Once the dragon of the nine underworlds' true spirit appeared, it was as if the real dragon of the nine underworlds had descended, shocking everyone in the Imperial Army dojo. Even the galaxy wheel of the heaven and human secret realm was no exception. At this moment, tens of thousands of people were enveloped by the nine underworlds' chi. Even breathing became extremely difficult, and they had no idea what was happening in the dojo. The dragon of the nine underworlds' true spirit controlled the entire dojo. Kill. Run? When Long Yu released the dragon of the nine underworlds' true spirit, he immediately discovered that everyone around him was completely shocked. Galaxy Wheel? The handsome young man maintained his posture of sprinkling starlight. His eyes were filled with shock as he stood rooted to the spot. Chu Chaosheng? His whole body was enveloped by the nine underworlds' chi. It was as if he had fallen into the Yellow Springs swamp, and he could not move at all. Yu Ruyin was in an even worse situation. When the dragon of the nine underworlds' true spirit appeared, there was only shock left in her eyes. She was caught off guard and was hit in the chest by Tang Qin. She was sent flying and fell heavily to the ground. However, at this moment, both the enemies and the allies were shocked by the dragon of the nine underworlds' true spirit. Long Yuanjian stood there in a daze. Bai Yunzong fell to the ground. Tang Qin stopped on the spot after throwing out her palm. When the dragon of the nine underworlds' true spirit was released, the surrounding time seemed to have stopped. Only the gentle breeze that kept blowing told Long Yu that time was still passing. It's too unrealistic to kill the galaxy wheel. The best thing to do now is a cold light flashed in Long Yu's eyes. The lunar wings instantly spread out, and he turned into a grayish-black flowing light. With a flash, he appeared behind Feng Yao, who had retreated not far away. He grabbed Feng Yao's neck with one hand and retreated to the entrance of the Imperial Army's dojo with her. Since Xinghai Yiluan was willing to travel so far to kill Long Yu for Feng Yao, it was clear that Feng Yao and Xinghai Yiluan had a close relationship. Using Feng Yao as a hostage was the only way for Long Yu to escape. If Long Yu did not release the dragon of the nine underworlds' true spirit, it would be impossible for him to cross the galaxy wheel and kidnap Feng Yao. It could be said that even if Long Yu released the dragon of the nine underworlds' true spirit, he would only be able to fight for a slim chance of survival. Stop! The first to wake up was the galaxy wheel. His martial arts realm was the highest. He had stepped into the heavenly realm. Even if Long Yu released the dragon of the nine underworlds' true spirit, he would not be able to hold him back for long. He quickly woke up and saw that Long Yu was holding Feng Yao hostage and was leaving the Imperial Army martial field. He immediately shouted angrily and wanted to chase after them. If you take another step forward, I'll take her life. Seeing that the galaxy wheel had woken up, Long Yu snorted coldly and grabbed Feng Yao's neck. As expected, the galaxy wheel stopped. There was a look of disbelief on his handsome face. He never thought that Long Yu would have a way to intimidate him and capture Feng Yao from behind. Since the galaxy wheel had woken up, the dragon of the nine underworlds' true spirit was useless. Long Yu withdrew the dragon of the nine underworlds' true spirit and walked out of the Imperial Army's dojo step by step with Feng Yao's neck. Very quickly, Long Yu and Feng Yao disappeared from Yiluan's sight. This caused Yiluan to bite his lips unwillingly. A dignified heavenly realm expert, one of the seven calamities, Galaxy Wheel, had been defeated by a kid at the fourth level of the true spirit realm. If news of this were spread, it would be enough to make him lose all face. Yiluan did not care about face, but he cared about Feng Yao. As Long Yu and Feng Yao disappeared, Yiluan immediately wanted to chase after them. No matter what, his strength was much stronger than Long Yu's. With Feng Yao as a hostage, he could only hold on for a moment. It was impossible for him to let Long Yu escape from Yi Luan. At this time, the dragon of the 9 underworld's true spirit dissipated in the air with Long Yu's departure. The tens of thousands of people in the Imperial Army's dojo finally woke up. However, what entered their eyes was an unbelievable scene. Long Yu had disappeared, and even Feng Yao had disappeared. In the dojo, the most eye-catching person was the handsome young man in a blue robe, Yi Luan. He raised his hands and flew into the air. Unity of heaven and man, flying through the air. Whether it was Long Yuanjian who had just woken up, White Cloud Tracks, or Tang Qin, none of them could catch up to Yi Luan. They could only watch as he left the Imperial Army's dojo. However, at this moment, a series of elegant zither sounds came from the sky. Under everyone's gaze, Galaxy Wheel, who had flown into the sky, seemed to have hit a barrier and was bounced back. Mo Shanjian, Yi Luan's face darkened. He stood on the ground and raised his head to look at the sky. Mo Shanjian, the Lord of the Mountains. When White Cloud Tracks heard the series of elegant zither sounds, he finally let out a sigh of relief. He was saved. It seemed that the powerful talent that Long Yu had displayed had finally attracted Mo Shanjian's attention. Since Mo Shanjian had made a move, Long Yu's life was finally safe. Otherwise, even with Feng Yao as a hostage, would Long Yu really be able to escape? Many of the tens of thousands of people in the Imperial Army dojo heard the zither sounds and guessed who it was. Chapter 221. Anyone who had stepped into the heavenly realm would have a certain amount of fame in the entire heavenly mandate continent. For example, Yi Luan and the 7 Stars of Calamity, or the previous head of the Mo clan of the Xiang clan of the Tang Kingdom, Mo Shanjian, the owner of the Shanjian residence. Such a person would not easily appear in front of ordinary people. However, it was the martial arts competition of the 7 sects, and Chu Chaosheng wanted to change the power structure of the entire Tang Kingdom. It was completely normal for Mo Shanjian to hide and watch. Perhaps Mo Shanjian did not want to interfere in this matter, but when he saw Long Yu's true spirit explode with the true spirit of the dragon of the 9 underworlds, shocking everyone, even Mo Shanjian was shocked by Long Yu. Wouldn't it be such a pity if such a talent were to die like this? As the previous head of the Mo clan of the Xiang clan, Mo Shanjian mostly considered the interests of the Mo clan of the Xiang clan, as well as the interests of the entire Tang Kingdom. Protect Long Yu. This way, not only could he cause some trouble for Chu Chaosheng and the Long clan of the General clan, he could also gain a powerful ally for the Mo clan of the Xiang clan. Who knows, he might come in handy in the future. Why not? Mo Shanjian had seen Long Yu's unlimited potential from the true spirit of the dragon of the 9 underworlds. Yi Luan had obviously heard of Mo Shanjian, the owner of the Shanjian residence. Although he was not afraid of Mo Shanjian, it was impossible for him to break through Mo Shanjian's blockade and chase after the escaping Long Yu. What's more, Yi Luan was currently in the Tang Empire. In the entire Tang Kingdom, Mo Shanjian was not the only one in the heavenly realm. If others were to attack, Yi Luan would not be able to escape unscathed. Originally, Yi Luan had received Chu Chaosheng's guarantee, which was why he took the risk to come here. But now, he clearly understood that Chu Chaosheng's guarantee did not mean anything. Long Yu's display of great talent caused even Mo Shanjian, who was in the heaven realm, to admire him. The atmosphere of the entire Imperial Army battlefield became extremely tense. However, after Mo Shanjian repelled the Galaxy Yi Luan, he did not show himself. Obviously, he did not want to deal with the Galaxy Yi Luan, but only wanted to stop him from chasing after Long Yu. Based on Long Yu's speed, Mo Shanjian only needed to delay him for half a day. Before long, you could take Feng Yao and run far away. As for why she didn't let Long Yu come back, Mo Shanjian had her own plans. How could an eagle truly soar above the vault of heaven without being tempered? With Long Yu's current martial arts realm, he already stood at the peak of the 7 major sects of the Tang Empire. If he stayed in the Tang Empire, no one would be able to teach him. If he wanted to take a step further on the path of martial arts, he still had to rely on Long Yu himself. Going out to experience the world was the most important. Since Mo Shanjian didn't appear, Yi Luan didn't move either. He sat down in the Imperial Army's dojo and closed his eyes to rest. With Mo Shanjian of the Heavenly People's secret realm holding the fort, no one else dared to act rashly, including the left prince, Chu Chaosheng. Although he was only second to a few people in the Tang Empire, Mo Shanjian was one of them. Tang Qin had just injured Yu Ruyan and returned to the Ice Sect's camp. With a wave of her hand, she led the Ice Sect's disciples away. Since Chu Chaosheng was distorting the truth, there was no need for the 7-sect martial competition to continue. What was Tang Qin doing here? The Ice Sect had retreated. As for Tang Qin, the first thing she did when she returned to the sect was to prepare the Ice Heart Sutra and give it to Chu Chaosheng. It wasn't that she had resigned herself to fate, but with just her and by Yunzong's resistance, it was impossible to stop Chu Chaosheng. If they stubbornly resisted, the entire sect might be uprooted by Chu Chaosheng. Chu Chaosheng was not someone who couldn't do such a thing. Now, Tang Qin could only look forward to Long Yu stepping into a higher realm of martial arts and waiting for his return. Bai Yunzong, who had suffered serious injuries, returned to the Jintian clan's spectator stand. "Sectmaster, how are you?" Many Jintian clan's disciples and elders immediately came to greet him. "I'm fine. Since Senior Shanjian has appeared, Long Yu will be safe for now." Bai Yunzong finally let out a sigh of relief. Even now, he was still worried about Long Yu and did not worry about his own injuries. It could be seen that the degree of importance he placed on Long Yu had already far surpassed his own. Suddenly, a figure flew over from outside the Imperial Martial Field. The Jintian clan spectator stand saw that it was the Feng family's master, Feng Chang'e, who had been cultivating in his residence and trying to break through to the next realm. Feng Chang'e had finally broken through to the True Spirit realm and stepped into the 7th level of the True Spirit secret realm. However, before he could rejoice, he felt a soul-stirring aura erupt from the Imperial Army's training field, causing him to rush over in a hurry. "Where's Long Yu?" Feng Chang'e entered the Imperial Martial Field and soon arrived at the Jintian clan spectator stand. He looked around but did not see Long Yu's figure. He only saw a handsome young man dressed in blue sitting on the Imperial Army's martial field with his eyes closed. Feng Chang'e could sense an extremely powerful aura from the handsome young man. After telling Feng Chang'e to calm down, Track of White Cloud proceeded to tell him what had just happened. "Feng Yao, with the starry discus?" Feng Chang'e frowned and glanced at the field. He did not expect the young man in a blue shirt to be an expert in the unity of Heaven-Man realm. He felt a surge of anger in his heart, but he let out a miserable sigh. He was angry because Feng Yao was still unwilling to give up and wanted to make a move against Long Yu. However, he was sad because now that Feng Yao had fallen into Long Yu's hands, according to Long Yu's personality, he would probably not forgive her this time. "I'll go and take a look." Feng Chang'e immediately made up his mind. He would fight for a chance for Feng Yao no matter what. He would then keep Feng Yao by his side so that she would not have the chance to act recklessly again. "Wait." Bai Yunzong shook his head and stopped Feng Chang'e, since he didn't see them when you came in. "Do you know where they are now? You won't be able to catch up to them." "I'll go after them, even if I can't," Feng Chang'e said stubbornly and was about to leave. However, at that instant, a pretty figure in a light green dress suddenly appeared at the entrance of the Imperial Martial Field. It was Feng Yao. Feng Yao had a dejected look on her face. She raised her head and saw the expression on Feng Chang'e's face as he looked at her. Long Yu had let her go. It was very obvious that after Long Yu left the Imperial Army Martial Field, he saw the scene of Xinghai Yi Luan being blocked by Mo Shanjian and forced to retreat. Thus, it was useless for him to bring Feng Yao along. Instead, she would become his burden. "Father!" Feng Yao panicked as soon as she saw Feng Chang'e. Feng Chang'e harumphed coldly and stepped forward. Look at what you've done. From today onward, I will move the Feng clan to the royal city and settle down there, and you will stay by my side. Feng Yao lowered her head. If she was facing the original Feng Chang'e, she might still be stubborn. However, not only had Feng Chang'e recovered his cultivation, he had also reached the 7th layer true spirit realm. She had heard about this when she first arrived at the royal city. It was Long Yu who had exchanged a precious treasure for a black-level pill that had cured Feng Chang'e's condition. She was slightly grateful to Long Yu, but since she had already brought the starry discus here, she had no choice but to help. General Feng. At that instant, the starry discus, who was resting at the center of the Imperial Martial Field, suddenly opened his eyes and looked in Feng Chang'e's direction. Feng Chang'e turned around with a frown. You've recovered from your injuries. The starry discus let out a sigh and said, if that's the case, there's no need for me to stay. Take care. This sentence stunned many people in the surroundings. You? Take care? The starry discus knew Feng Chang'e and seemed to be very respectful toward him. What was going on? You know me? Feng Chang'e subconsciously asked. However, the starry discus figure suddenly soared into the sky. This time, Mo Shanjian did not stop him, most likely because he could tell that the starry discus no longer had any murderous intent toward Long Yu. A moment later, the starry discus disappeared from everyone's sight. Yao, who exactly is this starry discus? Feng Chang'e asked Feng Yao with a stern expression. He was saved by you when he was young and managed to keep his life. After that, he obtained a starry heavenly steel and achieved the heaven-human mystical realm by cultivating the nomological laws. Feng Yao lowered her head and said, it's my fault. When I met him, he immediately recognized me as your daughter and said that he wanted to repay my kindness. So, I used in a deal with Long Yu. Feng Chang'e would never have thought that he would be Xinghai Yiluan's benefactor. And Xinghai Yiluan did not come with her to deal with Long Yu because he had taken a fancy to Feng Yao, but to repay her kindness. However, Father, Discus mentioned that it's fine if you don't recover your cultivation. Once you do, there will be many troubles that will come knocking on your door. Feng Yao said worriedly, not only have I recovered, but I've also reached the 7th layer true spirit realm. Do you think I'm afraid of them? Feng Chang'e's eyes flickered. He knew that trouble would come knocking on his door once he recovered his cultivation, but why should he be afraid? Unfortunately, Feng Chang'e had saved too many people in the past. He could not remember when he had saved the starry discus. As for the starry discus, he did not know how important Long Yu was to Feng Chang'e, so he listened to Feng Yao's words and came to kill Long Yu. However, when he saw Feng Chang'e rushing to the scene and looking for Long Yu, he understood the position that Long Yu occupied in Feng Chang'e's heart. After the starry discus left, the martial competition of the 7 sects came to an end. Yu Qianing chose to challenge the Ice sect, but the Ice sect's disciples had already left, so they were considered to have forfeited. The Thousand Thread sect successfully won the martial competition of the 7 sects. Apart from the Thousand Thread sect, the other 6 sects had to give their cultivation techniques to Chu Chaosheng. The Great Tang Kingdom had entered a new era, and Chu Chaosheng's personal sect was about to be established. As for the Jintian clan, the Ice sect, and the other sects, the only thing they could look forward to was his return, waiting for Long Yu's return. Chapter 222. On the last day of the martial arts competition of the 7 sects, Long Yu faced Yu Ruyan, White Cloud Track, and even the Starsea Leaf Wheel, who was at the oneness of heaven and man realm. He released a terrifying aura and easily escaped. This matter spread like bamboo shoots after a spring rain throughout the Great Tang Empire. The name of Long Zitian's son, Long Yu, also became very familiar to everyone. And after this day, the 7 major sects of the Tang Kingdom handed their cultivation methods to the left Prince Chu Chaosheng. Chu Chaosheng used these cultivation methods as a foundation to create his own force, the Tang Kingdom Martial Arts sect. It was conceivable that from now on, most young martial cultivators who wanted to join a sect would choose to join the Tang Kingdom martial arts sect instead of the 7 major sects. This was because Chu Chaosheng announced to the world that once one joined the Tang Kingdom martial arts sect, they could choose any of the 7 major sects' cultivation methods. If they made a certain contribution to the Tang Kingdom martial arts sect, they could even choose a second or third cultivation method and cultivate them at the same time. This kind of temptation was undoubtedly extremely great for many young martial cultivators. What was even more unexpected was that on the day the Tang Kingdom martial arts sect was established, many disciples of the 7 major sects joined the Tang Kingdom martial arts sect. Among them, the most representative were Yu Qianing and Yu Qimei of the Thousand Thread sect. The Broken Blade sect was destroyed by Lin Sha of the Qingcheng Pavilion. These disciples had all displayed their strength at the martial arts competition of the 7 sects. After joining the Tang Kingdom martial arts sect, it undoubtedly made the Tang Kingdom martial arts sect's reputation reach an unprecedented level. As for the Qingcheng Pavilion, it was directly disbanded. Feng Xiaoyun could not think of any reason to continue after handing over the cultivation methods of the sect and suffering a crushing defeat at the martial arts competition of the 7 sects. Since the Qingcheng Pavilion would decline in the near future, it was better to disband it. As for Feng Xiaoyun herself, she also joined the Tang Kingdom martial arts sect and became an elder. This action made Hua Haishan of the Hidden Fire Temple, Chu Shanwu of the Broken Blade sect, and the others a little tempted. If they joined the Tang Kingdom martial arts sect, they would definitely enjoy better treatment than ordinary disciples. Everything was progressing in the direction that Chu Chaosheng had anticipated. The only thing he did not expect was Feng Chang'e and the Jintian clan. Feng Chang'e led more than 40 members of the new Feng clan and settled down in the Great Tang Imperial City, becoming a force of the Great Tang Imperial City. Since Feng Chang'e's strength had recovered, and he had even stepped into the true spirit as one realm, the Feng clan's overall strength surpassed most of the Imperial City's clans and was only second to the 4 great clans. This would assuredly bring a series of weakening and suppression. Every faction found the Xinfeng clan displeasing to the eye, except for one, the Xiang clan's Mo clan. In secret, the Mo clan of the Xiang clan supported Feng Chang'e, helping him establish himself in the Imperial City. The Jintian clan situation was even more unexpected to Chu Chaosheng. Although they had handed over the heaven-suppressing chant, the number of young martial cultivators who wanted to join the Jintian clan did not decrease. Instead, it increased. Without a doubt, these young martial cultivators were all after Long Yu's name. After the martial arts competition of the 7 sects, although the Thousand Thread sect and Chu Chaosheng were the victors, the Jintian clan also ushered in a golden period of development. Would Chu Chaosheng let the Jintian clan continue to grow? Clearly not. Feng Chang'e, White Cloud Trace, Long Yu, you 3 just you wait and see. Chu Chaosheng stood at the peak of the newly established martial ancestor realm of the Great Tang, his eyes flashing with a cold light. The martial arts competition of the 7 sects had ended, but the entire Imperial City and the Great Tang Empire were still in turmoil. No one knew when the next wave would explode. After leaving the Imperial Army Martial Field, Long Yu headed straight for the Ghost Valley of Heavenly Souls. When he saw that someone had helped him block the Star Sea Wheel, he let Feng Yao go. After all, she would only be a burden if she stayed behind. Long Yu did not know what had happened in the Imperial Army Martial Field after that, but he could guess at the vast majority of it. The Thousand Thread sect had won, the 7 sects had been weakened, and Chu Chaosheng had gained the upper hand. Whether it was the Jintian clan or the Xinfeng clan, their days in the Great Tang Empire would not be easy. Moreover, Chu Chaosheng will definitely send assassins to hunt me down. If I want to escape, there's only one place I can go for now. Now, Long Yu had to improve his martial arts realm as quickly as possible while ensuring his own safety. At the very least, he had to defeat Chu Chaosheng before he could return to the Great Tang Empire to help the Jintian clan, the Ice Sect, and the Xinfeng clan. Now, the only favors he remembered were the Jintian clan, the Ice Sect, the Xinfeng clan, and Lu Yuan of the Qingqing Pavilion. In order to help him, Lu Yuan not only fell out with the pavilion master of the Qingqing Pavilion, but also saved Bu Fu's life. No matter what, Long Yu could not treat Lu Yuan lightly now. I wonder if Lu Yuan's father will. When Long Yu thought of the hell demon seed that Lu Yuan's father had, he was worried. Once the hell demon seed broke out, the entire Great Tang Empire and even the entire Heavenly Mandate continent would not be spared. Unfortunately, if Long Yu went back now, he would only be dead. He hoped that Lu Yuan could take good care of her father. The lunar wings on Long Yu's back spread out, and he turned into a streak of black light. He quickly left the Great Tang Imperial City and flew toward the Ghost Valley of Sky Souls. He chose the Ghost Valley of Sky Souls not only because he did not know about other places, but also because he felt that the vague consciousness produced by the lunar wings seemed to want him to go to the Ghost Valley of Sky Souls. The lunar wings were made from the body of a powerful demonic beast in the Ghost Valley of Sky Souls, the wing envoy of the Ghost Valley. The consciousness produced by the wings was, of course, related to the wing envoy of the Ghost Valley of Sky Souls. However, the dead wing envoy of the Ghost Valley of Sky Souls seemed to have great resentment. Because of this, there was a strong will that hoped that Long Yu would go to the Ghost Valley of Sky Souls. The lunar wings are the strongest weapon I have now. If I can be more compatible with them, my speed will be unparalleled in the same realm. In order to be more compatible with the lunar wings, Long Yu decided to take a risk. It was useless to just go to the outer area of the Ghost Valley of Sky Souls. To achieve his goal, he had to go deep into the Ghost Valley, or at least go through the Butterfly Valley. The Butterfly Valley could be said to be the buffer zone between the outer area and the inner area of the Ghost Valley of Sky Souls. The strongest demonic beasts in the outer area of the Ghost Valley of Sky Souls were only the snake followers of the Ghost Valley of the fourth layer, True Spirit Realm. In the inner area of the Ghost Valley of Sky Souls, there was a complete demonic beast society. Demonic beasts all lived in groups. In each group, there would be a powerful existence of the unity of True Spirit Realm. Only then would they be able to survive in the inner area of the Ghost Valley of Sky Souls. Otherwise, they would have to live in the Butterfly Valley. The Butterfly Valley was an extremely vast valley. There were countless powerful demonic beasts below the seventh layer of the True Spirit Realm, and most of them moved in groups. Once a demonic beast reached the seventh layer of the True Spirit Realm, it would lead the group to the inner area of the Ghost Valley of Sky Souls to obtain better cultivation resources. Long Yu's current target was the Butterfly Valley. If he could deal with Yu Qianing, who was at the sixth layer of the True Spirit Realm, he could definitely deal with demonic beasts of the same level. As for the powerful existences at the seventh layer of the True Spirit Realm, Long Yu did not want to deal with them for the time being. After a day and a night, Long Yu had already left the border of Great Tang and was approaching the Mixed Sound City and the Ghost Valley of Sky Souls. Before I left last time, I offended the alchemist of the Mixed Sound City, Feng Hai. It's better if I don't go in this time. Long Yu shook his head when he saw the Mixed Sound City's walls. He decided to take a detour. The alchemist, Feng Hai, was a member of the strongest gang in the Mixed Sound City. If he entered the Mixed Sound City now, he would definitely become the target of everyone, no matter how strong he was. Although he had the supreme spiritual Grade Star Sea Sword and Flame Banner, which could be exchanged for many elixirs, it was not enough for him to raise his cultivation. There was no need for him to take the risk of entering the Mixed Sound City. Soon, he bypassed the Mixed Sound City and arrived at the entrance of the Ghost Valley of Sky Souls. Just like the last time, dozens of martial cultivators of the underworld were gathered at the entrance of the Ghost Valley of Sky Souls. They were discussing how to enter the Ghost Valley in groups to hunt demonic beasts. Long Yu maintained his vigilance and pretended to casually walk toward the entrance of the Ghost Valley of Sky Souls. Stop! At this moment, a sudden shout came from his side. Following this shout, several martial cultivators of the pugilistic world jumped out and blocked Long Yu's path. Each and every one of them looked at him maliciously. "You're Long Yu. The city lord has ordered us to bring you back alive." The leader was a martial cultivator of the Jianghu. He was actually at the 5th level of the true spirit secret realm. He had a bald head and was holding a ghost head saber. He stared at Long Yu in a mocking and fierce manner and threatened, "Are you going to obediently walk back with us? Or are we going to break your limbs and carry you back? It's your choice." "They're here." Long had already guessed that there would be an ambush here, but he did not expect them to send a LV5 true spirit realm expert to stop him. At the entrance of the Ghost Valley of Sky Souls, dozens of martial cultivators of the underworld looked at him and laughed. "So this kid is Long Yu. I heard that his father is Long Zaiqian, who was chased out of the Tang Empire for treason. Now, this kid is also chased out. It's true that the son follows his father's orders. Haha. The last time Long Yu came to Mixed Sound City, he killed an errant follower of alchemist Feng Hai. How audacious. Now he wants to come to the Ghost Valley of Sky Souls again? What wishful thinking." Being stopped by the demonic head saber, I don't think this kid will be able to walk away unscathed. If he doesn't listen to us, losing 2 arms would be considered a light punishment. Many people laughed mockingly and pointed at Long Yu. The demonic head saber they were talking about was the bald leader of the group that stopped Long Yu, a LV5 true spirit realm cultivator. It seemed that the demonic head saber was quite famous in this area. Unfortunately, his strength was definitely not comparable to Yu Qianning's. Even Yu Qianning was defeated by Long Yu. How could a mere demonic head saber defeat Long Yu? "Take him down." The bald demonic head saber saw that Long Yu did not say a word, and his eyes flashed with impatience. He waved his hand and gave the order. Suddenly, 6 LV4 true spirit realm martial cultivators attacked Long Yu at the same time. Chapter 2:23. Long Yu did not move, but once he did, he could take someone's life. Facing 6 4th rank true spirit realm martial cultivators, Long Yu did not feel any pressure at all. He instantly released the Tai Yin force, and the endless power of frost caused the 6 people to shiver. Cold, it was just too cold. Before they could think of a way to resist the cold, Long Yu's fist had already arrived. 9 Nether Dragon Fist. A simple fist that contained the 9 Nether Chi came crashing down and sent a 4th rank true spirit realm expert flying. A 4th rank true spirit realm martial cultivator was already considered a very powerful existence in the Mixed Sound City. Any one of them could be considered a boss. But now, these 6 people could not withstand a single blow from Long Yu. 10,000 slaughter. The tip of the 9 Nether Dragon Spear condensed the destructive power of thunder and lightning. With a flash of lightning and killing intent, the spear pierced through another person's chest and killed him on the spot. Long Yu's bravery made Ghost Headblade, who was at the 5th rank true spirit realm, frown. It seemed that a few 4th rank true spirit realm subordinates were no longer a match for Long Yu. Ghost Headblade immediately waved the long saber in his hand, and a ruthless saber light slashed at Long Yu's head. Ghost Headblade did not intend to kill Long Yu with just this. After waving the saber light, Ghost Headblade flashed behind Long Yu and slashed at Long Yu again. Ghost Headblade actually made a move personally. He really thinks highly of Long Yu. That kid killed 2 of Ghost Headblade's subordinates in an instant. How can he still keep his composure? It seems that Long Yu's strength is not bad. Unfortunately, facing Ghost Headblade, only death awaits him. Dozens of spectating martial cultivators could not help but shake their heads when they saw the situation. They did not like Ghost Headblade, but there was no doubt about his strength. Dealing with Long Yu, who was only at the 4th rank of the true spirit secret realm, was a piece of cake. Unfortunately, it had only been a day since Long Yu defeated Yu Qianning on the last day of the 7th sect martial competition. The news had yet to reach here. Otherwise, they would never think that a mere Ghost Headblade at the 5th level of the true spirit realm would be a match for Long Yu. Facing the Ghost Head Saber's 2 saber lights, Long Yu remained calm and composed. He punched out and gathered the Netherworld Chi to form the Yellow Springs barrier. The Netherworld runes on the Yellow Springs barrier flowed, easily blocking the 2 saber lights of the Ghost Head Saber. What? Ghost Head Blade's expression changed. He didn't expect the kid in front of him to be so difficult to deal with. Even his two blade lights were completely blocked. One had to know that his martial Dao realm was at the 5th level of the true spirit secret realm, so his basic strength should be twice as strong as Long Yu's. Facing his attack, how could this kid block it? However, reality was reality. Ghost Head Blade's expression changed, and he immediately wanted to use a stronger move. However, at this moment, he suddenly felt his entire body being bound by an invisible being. Spirit of the Yellow Springs. The formless and invisible spirit of the Yellow Springs bound the Ghost Head saber on the spot. Following that, Long Yu punched out, and the Netherworld Chi instantly erupted. Ghost Head Blade was sent flying by the pillar of Netherworld Chi and landed heavily on the ground. All the meridians in his body were corroded by the Netherworld Chi, and it seemed like he wouldn't be able to survive. Ghost Head Blade was sent flying, and his remaining 4 subordinates at the 4th level of the True Spirit Secret Realm were all shocked. They no longer dared to move forward and all retreated. Even the Ghost Head Blade had been defeated by Long Yu in a single exchange. What about the rest of them? I wish to be reborn in Samadhi. Quick, inform Mixound City that there's news of Long Yu. Even Ghost Head Blade was defeated by him. At the entrance of the Sky Soul Ghost Valley, a middle-aged man with an unkempt beard and a long scar from his left shoulder to the back of his hand made him look quite fierce. Yes, Big Brother Gua. Hearing this, a subordinate turned around and left the Sky Soul Ghost Valley, heading in the direction of Mixound City. In the blink of an eye, Long Yu noticed this scene, and his eyes slightly narrowed. Big Brother Gua? If Long Yu's guess was right, this Big Brother Gua shouldn't be from the gang in Mixound City. Otherwise, he would have stood up to help Ghost Head Blade. After all, this Big Brother Gua was at the 6th level of the True Spirit Secret Realm. Next to Big Brother Gua, there were several experts at the 5th level of the True Spirit Secret Realm. They were resting in the Sky Soul Ghost Valley. It seemed like there was going to be a big hunt soon. The reason why he asked someone to inform Mixound City was purely because the middle-aged man, surnamed Guo, wanted to be on good terms with Mixound City. Long Yu would never leave any future trouble for himself. After he defeated Ghost Head Blade and killed him with the Netherworld Chi, he quickly killed the remaining 4 martial cultivators at the 4th level of the True Spirit Secret Realm, led by Ghost Head Blade. Although they sensed that something was wrong and wanted to escape, how could they outrun Long Yu, who had the lunar wings? Ghost Head Blade and the 6 subordinates he had brought with him, not a single one was spared. They had all died at Long Yu's hands. Seeing Long Yu take all the valuables from the corpses and continue walking towards the Sky Soul Ghost Valley, the dozens of martial cultivators all felt a chill run down their spines. This kid was indeed the one who dared to kill Feng Hai's lackey. He killed Ghost Head Blade and his subordinates so decisively. After all, if killing Feng Hai's lackeys was considered offending Feng Hai, then killing Ghost Head Blade and his lackeys would be considered as offending the entire Mixing Sound City. However, that was not the end. Long Yu put away the high-grade spirit-level combat weapon in Ghost Head Blade's hand. Then he walked towards the Big Brother Gua, who had sent someone to inform Mixound City. What was this kid trying to do? His action made all the martial cultivators in the vicinity want to guess what he was thinking. They would believe it if someone said that this kid was heaven-defying enough to kill Ghost Head Blade. However, they would never believe that he was trying to deal with Big Brother Gua. Guo Wei, the middle-aged man with an unshaven beard, was surprised when he saw Long Yu walking toward him. He did not expect that this kid named Long Yu would dare to cause trouble for him. He was about to lead his team to a large-scale hunting mission, so he did not want to fight here. Little brother, if I were you, I would leave now and not cause trouble for an unbeatable opponent before the arrival of a formidable enemy. A scar was clearly visible on Guo Wei's bare arm, making him look extremely ferocious. His eyes were filled with a strong thirst for blood. Big Brother Guo is telling you so much because he doesn't want to cause trouble. You better leave now. It's not too late. A skinny monkey-like martial cultivator beside Guo Wei said in disdain. If you don't want trouble, why did you send someone to inform Mixound City? Long Yu said indifferently. His footsteps did not stop as he continued approaching Guowei. Seeing Long Yu's footsteps, Guowei immediately became alert. However, in the next moment, Long Yu suddenly moved. Even Guowei wasn't able to react in time. After all, who would have thought that a kid who was only at the LV4 True Spirit Realm would dare to attack an expert at the LV6 True Spirit Realm? Guowei was a famous martial cultivator in the vicinity. He was in his 40s and had killed countless people. His name was enough to make people tremble in fear. He had lived for more than half of his life, but he had never thought that a kid who was 2 levels lower than him would dare to attack him. Was he trying to court death? Recalling the death of Ghost Headblade, Guowei would not let his subordinates fight. Instead, he stepped forward personally. "Good lad, you've got guts." Guowei burst out laughing with bloodthirst in his eyes. He stomped on the ground, and 2 crimson flying daggers appeared in his hands. Crimson flying daggers. The surrounding martial cultivators, including Guowei's subordinates who were at the LV5 True Spirit Realm, were shocked. The crimson flying daggers were Guowei's strongest move, and they were usually not used easily. However, Guowei had taken out the crimson flying daggers just to deal with a kid at the LV4 True Spirit Realm. Tying force. Long Yu noticed the 2 crimson flying daggers in his hands and became alert. At the same time, he unleashed the tying force once again. "It's the Divine Tablet's law. No wonder you're so arrogant." Guowei grinned as if he had met his match. However, those who were familiar with him knew that the smile was filled with extreme bloodthirst. The crimson flying daggers in his hand spun around twice and gathered the power of a bloody law domain, which swept toward Long Yu at an incredible speed. Drunken Yellow Spring. Yellow Spring Barrier. Long Yu dared not be careless. He immediately threw a punch, and the Samsara force enveloped the 2 crimson flying daggers, weakening their power slightly. Immediately after that, the netherworld chi condensed into a nether barrier that blocked his surroundings. "Ha!" Guowei let out a disdainful smile and waved his hand to retrieve the 2 crimson flying daggers. He was extremely agile. Long Yu frowned slightly. He could tell that Guowei did not underestimate his opponent at all, even though he was facing a weakling who was 2 levels lower than him. Instead, he was extremely cautious. It was not easy to deal with a martial cultivator who had been on the edge of a blade for too many times. At least, it would not be as easy as Fu Yu and Qianing. This would be a tough battle. To Guowei, it cannot be any easier. He did not need to take Long Yu's life. He only needed to delay Long Yu and wait for the people from Mixed Sound City to finish off Long Yu. Anyway, he was just killing time. At the same time, he could do Mixed Sound City's alchemist Feng Hai a favor. Why not? Force your way in. Kill. Under such circumstances, it was not a wise choice for Long Yu and Guowei to delay for time. Then, Long Yu's lunar wings spread out from his back. He turned into a grayish-black ray of light and swept toward Guowei. Chapter 224. Facing Long Yu's punch, Guowei's performance was extremely conservative. Defend. A bloodthirsty smile remained on Guowei's face as the 2 blood-colored flying daggers intertwined to form a blood-colored barrier, intending to block Long Yu's punch. But what he didn't expect was that Long Yu's punch didn't even wait for the 9 Serenities' chi to escape. Long Yu turned around and ran towards the entrance of the Sky Soul Ghost Valley. He's just feigning an attack and taking the opportunity to escape. It seems like this kid is afraid that Brother Gua will attack him, so he pretended to take revenge on Brother Gua. But it turns out that he's just bluffing. Like I said, a martial cultivator who has finally condensed his true spirit into a physical body shouldn't be so stupid that he can't see his own strength clearly. The dozens of martial cultivators present immediately understood Long Yu's intention. Everyone assumed that Long Yu was trying to take the opportunity to escape into the Sky Soul Ghost Valley. Guowei thought so too. As a matter of fact, he had already guessed this possibility when Long Yu attacked him. Now, Long Yu's action was just as he had expected. "If you hadn't attacked me, Guowei might have turned a blind eye to it, but now, Guowei's eyes flickered ferociously as he suddenly turned blood-colored and sprinted toward Long Yu. Do you think you can escape from me? Two blood-colored flying daggers left his hands and formed two blood-colored whirlwinds that attacked Long Yu's back eerily. Guowei was best at chasing after people who had turned around to escape. No matter who it was, as long as they turned around and tried to escape from him, only death awaited them. The ability of the blood-colored flying daggers to chase after someone was extremely terrifying. Even if it was an expert of the same realm of martial arts as Guowei, it would be impossible for him to escape from his bloody pursuit, not to mention Long Yu, who was 2 realms lower than him. At this moment, everyone could almost see the scene of Long Yu being chased by the blood-colored flying daggers and being dismembered. Then, an unbelievable scene unfolded before their eyes. Long Yu, who was originally fleeing at an extremely fast speed, actually floated up an even faster speed when the blood-red whirlwind formed by the blood-red flying daggers was about to catch up to him. His entire body flew into the air. Immediately after, Long Yu gripped the 9 nether dragon spear in his hand tightly and used the spiritual communication martial technique, reverse scale touch. It condensed boundless destructive lightning and shot toward Guowei. You can guess that I'll turn around and run away, but I can't guess that you will launch a surprise attack on me when I turn around and run away. The corners of Long Yu's mouth curled up. The 9 nether dragon spear flew out of his hand as if it was going to pierce through the void. As for himself, he easily dodged the 2 whirlwinds of blood-red saber light after he spread his lunar wings and appeared beside Guowei in an instant. His sudden attack caught Guowei off guard. He didn't expect the kid in the 4th rank of the True Spirit Secret Realm to actually fight with him. Furthermore, how could this kid's speed be so fast? Even Guowei might not be able to catch up with the sudden burst of speed. As the 9 nether dragon spear approached, Guowei quickly withdrew the 2 blood-colored flying daggers and used them to block the reverse scale touch from Long Yu's 9 nether dragon spear. However, at this moment, Long Yu threw a punch at him from the side. Samsara awakening. As Long Yu threw a punch, the Samsara force instantly enveloped Guowei, causing his martial Dao realm to drop to the 5th rank of the True Spirit Secret Realm. This sudden change caused Guowei's fierce expression to change drastically. His martial Dao realm had actually fallen? How is this possible? Without waiting for Guowei to react, Long Yu punched out with a drunk yellow springs. The invisible and formless yellow springs spirit completely bound Guowei, and the netherworld chi condensed. Netherworld explosion. As Long Yu punched the ground, a gust of netherworld chi condensed under Guowei's feet. Then, a pillar of netherworld chi burst out. Brother Guo, watch out! A martial cultivator in the 5th rank of the True Spirit Secret Realm reacted instantly and knocked Guowei to the side. However, the netherworld chi completely erupted and enveloped the martial cultivator, causing him to let out a blood-curdling scream. After being eroded by the netherworld chi, there was no way he could survive. In order to save Guowei, the martial cultivator was willing to sacrifice himself. This showed that Guowei was quite popular. Everyone, let's kill this brat. Guowei's other martial cultivators in the 5th rank of the True Spirit Secret Realm were filled with righteous indignation. They would not show any mercy to someone who dared to kill their brother. Now, even without waiting for Mixound City's alchemist Feng Hai's men to arrive, they wanted to tear Long Yu into pieces. Instantly, for martial cultivators in the 5th rank of the True Spirit Secret Realm stood in front of Guowei and charged at Long Yu. Their hatred was absolutely irreconcilable. Retreat. After killing one of them, Long Yu knew it was time for him to retreat when he saw that the other party was well-trained and their teamwork was flawless. If he continued to fight, even if he did not lose, once the people from the Mixound City arrived, he would be in serious trouble. Long Yu did not want to continue fighting. His Dantian began to pulse and recover the Xian Qi he had consumed. At the same time, he extended his lunar wings and flew toward the entrance of the Ghost Sky Valley. After he burst forth with his fastest speed, no one present could catch up with him. Guo Wei and his 4 martial cultivators in the 5th rank of the True Spirit Secret Realm could only watch as Long Yu disappeared into the Ghost Sky Valley. Damn it! The ferocity in Guo Wei's eyes intensified. One of his brothers, an expert at the 5th level of the True Spirit Secret Realm, was originally one of the pillars of the upcoming large-scale hunting operation, but now he was killed by Long Yu, especially when his brother died because he tried to save him. If he had known that Long Yu would be so difficult to deal with, he would not have sent someone to inform the Mixed Sound City. Now, not only did he not get any benefits, but he had also lost a brother. Brother Guo. Beside him, the skinny monkey-like martial cultivator's face was pale with fright. He had never expected that a martial cultivator in the 4th rank of the True Spirit Secret Realm would possess such terrifying strength. Let's wait for a while. That guy is not easy to deal with. Guo Wei looked around and said to his men in a low voice, "Let's wait for the people from the sealed sea of the Mixed Sound City to come. We'll leave this to them." "Brother Guo, aren't we going to take revenge for 5th brother?" The skinny man was shocked. He had never seen Big Brother Guo say such discouraging words. In the past, whenever his brothers encountered any difficulties, Guo Wei would always be at the front. This time, he was afraid of a martial cultivator in the 4th rank of the True Spirit Secret Realm. "Of course, we have to take revenge ourselves." Guo Wei sneered. The long scar on his arm was very obvious. "Do you think that trash, Feng Hai, can deal with Long Yu? Let's wait until both sides are injured. Then we'll make our move and be the Oriole." Right. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the Oriole behind. Brother Guo is right. This way, not only will we save our energy, we might even be able to get some benefits from Feng Hai. The skinny martial cultivator suddenly realized that Brother Guo was indeed Brother Guo. His knowledge was different from his own. If he had not followed Guo Wei from the beginning, he would not have been able to step into the 5th rank of the True Spirit Secret Realm. All of this was brought to him by Guo Wei. Every one of Guo Wei's men was the same. Because of this, some of them were willing to die to save Guo Wei. Not long after, a group of people rushed over from the Mixed Sound City. They were Alchemist Feng Hai's men. Alchemist Feng Hai had also personally appeared. From the looks of it, he detested Long Yu greatly. Alchemist Feng Hai of the No. 1 gang in the Mixed Sound City wore a noble golden robe. He had an arrogant look on his face, and his eyes were filled with a deep coldness. Feng Hai's martial cultivation was actually only in the 4th rank of the True Spirit Secret Realm. However, as the alchemist of the No. 1 gang in the Mixed Sound City, he was protected by 3 experts in the 6th rank of the True Spirit Secret Realm. At this moment, 3 experts in the 6th rank of the True Spirit Secret Realm were following Feng Hai, protecting him and listening to his orders. "Guo Wei, where's the Long Yu you mentioned?" Feng Hai came over with his men and asked arrogantly, "If you dare to trick me, do you know what the consequences will be?" "Why would I trick you?" Guo Wei was in a bad mood. When he saw Feng Hai's arrogance, he snorted coldly. "Ghost Head Blade, and one of my men died in the hands of that brat, Long Yu. If you don't believe me, you can ask the brothers nearby." Many martial cultivators of the underworld had gathered at the entrance of the Ghost Valley. Feng Hai sent his men to ask around and soon found out what had happened. His face turned gloomy. "That brat killed Ghost Headblade again. He's really going against the entire Mixed Sound City." Feng Hai's face turned gloomy as he sensed that Long Yu was troublesome. As an alchemist, although he was arrogant, he was not reckless. Otherwise, he would not be able to do such a complicated job like alchemy. Through his limited understanding of Long Yu, he could feel that Long Yu's true strength did not match his martial cultivation realm. Moreover, he had a lot of tricks up his sleeves. Just the counterattack he used to deal with Guo Wei had amazed many martial cultivators of the underworld. However, that brat is only in the 4th rank of the True Spirit Realm. "Yang Hui, Yang Ku, follow me into the Ghost Valley to kill that brat." Feng Hai quickly made a decision and ordered the 3 bodyguards of the 6th rank of the True Spirit Realm. "As for you, guard the entrance." Once you see that brat, immediately release the signal flare to inform us. The Ghost Valley is so big. How are we going to find him? One of the bodyguards, Yang Ku, said with a slight change in expression. That brat is only in the 4th rank of the true spirit realm. He definitely only dares to move around the outer area of the Ghost Valley. Let's search the outer area of the Ghost Valley first. Feng Hai's hatred for Long Yu was very high. Since Long Yu had walked into the trap, there was no reason for him to let go of the chance to kill Long Yu. Under the eyes of Guo Wei and the rest, Feng Hai brought the 2 experts of the 6th rank of the true spirit realm, Yang Hui, Yang Ku, and a few other followers into the Ghost Valley. Brother Guo, are we going in? The skinny man asked anxiously. He was afraid that he would not be able to take advantage of the situation if he was late. There's no rush. Guo Wei narrowed his eyes as his mind raced. He was trying to guess what Long Yu's objective was this time. The outer area of the Ghost Valley? The Ghost Valley Snake followers? Impossible. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.